Delivery complete. Engage.
Delivery complete. It's a go. It's a go. Eagle 1. Fox 3.
Gentlemen, this is it.
Come on, come on, come on.
Virus ineffective. Disengage. Get your people out of there.
Disengage. Rear flank follows suit.
Hold on, Command. I want another shot at it.
Sir, I strongly recommend you disengage.
Eagle 1. Fox 3.
It's a hit. Squadron leaders, fire at will, fire at will, fire at will.
We're going in. Squadron leaders, take point.
Eagle 6 at 7.
Eagle 5 at 3.
Eagle 1. Fox 2.
Eagle 20, Fox 2.
All right, welcome everybody to another edition of Thirsty Thursdays. I've got a couple of awesome YouTubers with me, and we're gonna dive into the dumpster fire that is modern Hollywood. Hey, Jesse and Badger, how you guys doing?
I'm good. How are you?
All right, yeah. So you may know Jesse Grant. Jesse Grant's channel has been blowing up lately. He's been doing a bunch of different series on the Critical Drinker and Nerdrotic, and all of us getting attacked for calling out Hollywood on its BS. So I wanted to highlight that. Everybody should go check out Jesse's channel. So yeah.
Thanks, man. And I just noticed that the sun is coming through the window, so let me fix up this visual quality real quick.
Oh yeah, because it's morning for you guys. But yeah, and now you may have seen him on Open Bar. Here's the Angry Badger.
All right. Thank you for having me back. It's a
of
pleasure,
course.
Paul. Appreciate it. And great to meet you, Jesse, for the first time. Yeah, you must be doing something right on your channel. It looks really good over there. So I have to check out some more of those videos when we're done.
Just a combination of, I guess, consistency and a lot of luck, I think. It's so hard to think that you ever do anything right.
Yeah,
it's
I
just
say consistency, luck, and being good looking never hurt on YouTube. You seem to got all three, so you got it. Keep going.
Yeah, definitely.
Right back at you.
Youth helps too. You don't get accused of being old and caring about this stuff still.
Right. Oh
yeah, I can imagine.
Fans like the elder millennials, we've been around for a while, and we just don't understand the way Gen Z does things.
Well, I'm Gen Z, and I don't understand it, so.
That was a diamond in the rough. A diamond in the rough. I won't blame you for the sins of all the other ones.
So Jesse, I know you're Gen Z, but have you heard of O.J. Simpson and his life and everything like that?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, he might as well just bring this up, but yeah, he passed away today. I don't know, kind of.
Did he really?
Mixed feelings. Yeah,
he did. Yeah,
he had cancer, I think.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Prostate cancer. I understand.
Oh wow.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I mean, his whole life was insane. Having him on the Naked Gun movies was also like really weird.
Yeah, people forget that he was like a super well-known and well-liked football player and actor. And yeah, the Naked Gun movies. It's a shame that he died, just never knowing who the real killer was.
Oh. But did he write that book? If I did,
yes. If I did it, yeah. Well, the history of like violence against her, and
Oh my god! I mean,
I think that book is like, if I was to have killed her, I would have done it exactly like this, and I would have gone like
just saying. Yeah, no, I was a kid. Like we were talking about briefly backstage. I was a kid, and there was no internet, like not the way there is now. So they played that damn trial every day, and every day I'd come home from school trying to watch like Channel 5 cartoons and Batman and like Looney Tunes and Animaniacs, shit like that. Nope. Court trial for it was a while. But that got me to watch PBS, because at least PBS wasn't broadcasting them. It was doing like cooking
How long
shows.
did it actually go for? Did it get dragged
In my
out?
head,
Like
years, but it had to have been like months. It had to have been at least a month or two of just solid every day, every mainstream, because there was only fucking 13 channels if you didn't have cable. So 2, 4, 5, 7, 11, and 13 would all have the news playing that trial. Yeah.
Yeah. And I have like a distinct memory sitting in, I want to say I was in like 7th grade, and they come over the PA system to announce the verdict. And like, I had no idea, like, you know, about a lot of this, because I was a little kid, and a bunch of kids are like, yeah, cheering or whatever, and I'm like, I don't know how to feel about this.
50-50 whether they were cheering because they thought he was innocent or whether they were happy he got away with it.
Right. Or that the cartoons were coming back.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. That would be the more preferable of those options. Like, yes, this shit is over.
I mean, I still remember in my head, it's like burned in. If the glove don't fit, you must have quit.
Quit. Yeah.
Oh my God. It was
good.
like so ridiculous with the white Bronco chase. Like, you know, one of the movies that actually satirized it very well was The Chase with Christy Swanson and Charlie Sheen.
Yeah, I remember it, but don't ask me. Like, I remember the name. I know it. It's been a while since I've seen that one. But yeah, The Chase. I'm trying to think. I was thinking of The Getaway with Alec Baldwin and Kim Basinger.
Right. Yeah. That was the other one. Well, Alec Baldwin's got his own problems now.
Yeah, he's got his own.
I think the best satirization of that O.J. Simpson court trial was, have you guys seen the Seinfeld episode where they're accusing a woman of like not wearing a bra or something, and she's in trial and she's like, well, if the bra doesn't fit, and she tries on the bra over her sweater and she goes, it just doesn't fit.
Well, Jackie Childs is very clearly like, he came from the, I love that dude. It's outrageous. It's preposterous. Who told you to wear that? I didn't tell you to wear that. Yeah, no, that's one of my favorite Seinfeld characters is the Jackie Childs. That dude's still around. I just saw it was like Snyder's Pretzels or something, and he's like not doing that character, but doing that character, like shilling for. I was like, good.
Yeah.
Glad Jerry's not suing him for that. But that was one of the first times I ever saw a court thing on every single channel for like that long.
Yeah, I mean the white Bronco chase was like live.
Yeah,
I watched it live. Interrupting The Simpsons, which I was like really pissed off.
Again, I think it was another one. I was like, I wanted to watch The Simpsons, and now the cops are chasing, and they would break for car chases a lot too, because they got like ratings. Breaking news: some no name is chasing another no name, and then like they start having a bunch of casualties that are like, stop cutting to the car chases.
Right? Yeah, I mean, it was basically the rise of like that sensationalist news channel, like 24-hour news cycle.
Yeah. And what we got now.
And then, I mean, it all went downhill. It's so funny. There's a chick that lives in my building, and I always run into her because like she was in my running club a bunch of years back, and she runs the the website for MSNBC, and she is like the ultimate like blue pilled normie that like doesn't know any of this is existing. It's just like the cognitive dissonance is strong with her.
Yeah, it could be pretty impressive. Sometimes when you see it's like, wow, we really do live in two different
I mean, that, and I was just like, you guys,
or the filters for information, or where you hear like the same one thing is said and then two people hear entirely different things from the one
100%.
thing.
Yeah. Like,
the fuck?
Yeah, I mean, I told her, I'm like, yo, how are your ratings doing? Because like you guys are getting your like not just MSNBC, Fox, CNN, everyone is getting their ass kicked by yours truly.
Yeah. Worth noting that Piers Morgan had Gary and Drinker back on, and then noted it. They came on a second. Yeah. Noted that it was due to popular demand, i.e. the fucking comment section was like, "Yo, get him back." So yeah, it's so inspiring.
So I know it's another one. I didn't know it was a second one.
Yeah, what's up, Jess?
Yeah, I was going to say, I've got an interesting take on this because both my parents were journalists for like 30, 35 years, right? Like mainstream media. And both have left the mainstream media.
You mean they
and
had
like,
morals?
and so
That's
where they
shocking.
were working as well, which is like, you could probably say, I don't know if America has the equivalent, but in England they've got the BBC. It's basically like that in Australia, and so many journalists have left that company because they would write up articles and they wouldn't publish, and they would say, oh, we're not publishing this one, and they would say, oh, why? And it was just kind of agenda pushing, right? And so so many journalists have left, and that's happening everywhere, and they've both gone.
That's
My dad's not
inspiring.
really doing media stuff anymore. My mum's doing independent media now.
Yeah, say or go
and
independent
more
'cause I-
behind the scenes work.
Far more believe
Exactly.
in independent journalists than I would a part of any other, you know, the Schellenbergs
Exactly,
or
because there's
whatever.
always one person who owns those media companies,
Yeah.
or if it's not owned by one guy, it's going to be
There
the
generally is
government or
one
whatever.
person.
I mean,
And,
Yeah, 100%.
and that person
Substack-
will have an agenda that they want to push, and that's just going to go through. So
Yeah.
it's just impossible.
Yeah, and that's why Substack is basically blowing up. I want to plug Jesse's Substack, so you guys should all go check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, just created it the other day.
Nice. What are you going to be covering?
What I want to do, well, I was looking into Substack and I was like, I don't want to just do like articles and a newsletter. I want to see if I can build like a community behind it. And so I was looking at all the different features, and basically what I've come to is there's a 24/7 group chat feature that you can have there, so everyone can share ideas. I would much rather people be able to like talk to each other as well, talk about films. If they have comic book ideas or short film ideas, they can find collaborators. And then I'll plug in a link in that group chat once every fortnight, host a video conference call for everybody to like talk
That's 2
about
weeks
stuff.
if
And
you're not educated like Mr. Grant here. Not the game.
and then 3 newsletters a week and 2 bonus videos a week in there. So I think it'll be just a cool way to build like a little community, and we'll see where it goes.
Oh, plus, you could cover anything that YouTube would not be friendly with you to the
Exactly.
algorithm.
That's
yeah.
So I have this email that sends out to people, and I think in that email it said like, look, on here you're probably going to get extra things that I'll talk about that I like or that I find cool that YouTube's probably not going to push, or most people wouldn't be interested in, because unfortunately with YouTube you can't talk about everything you want to talk about, because otherwise the algorithm's just going to kill you.
Oh no, I got but a taste of the real algorithm from that drinker appearance. I was like, oh, no, that algorithm, it really is king, queen, whatever. Like, no, like they are interested. Everyone is interested in all the things we want to talk about. And that algorithm determines whether people see your shit like 100%. And if they think, no, I don't want people talking about that, then it doesn't get talked about.
Yeah.
Because then those same videos on Rumble and other ones have like insane, yeah.
I mean, it works on a lottery system, so it's like, you may or may not blow up, and getting over 1,000 subs was like a monumental effort.
Yeah. I feel like it's equal parts now. Like, it's algorithm and AI until you get attention or start doing certain things, and then it's you enter in a whole nother ballgame.
Yeah, I mean, like,
I just noticed like every time you like, it's not like you're constantly growing upwards. It's like you're just kind of the same for a bit, and then one video randomly wins the lottery. It gets more
100%.
views, and then from there, your views have gone up per video for a little while.
Like,
and then hopefully it happens again.
It's exactly what you said. Like if you consistently do it and you have some modicum of ability to speak, and your mic's not all messed up, okay, it's like, right, you grow, and then you sort of plateau. And then, like you said, one video that like just has the perfect title and the perfect topic, and you were on point the whole time and you were engaging, it blows you up, and then you break through that ceiling, and then it sort of plateaus and you're in another ceiling. And it's just, I've heard it too, like content. This is where it's like, am I just making excuses for the fact that no one gave a shit about that topic, or I didn't do a good job, or this, or is it really the algorithm is? Because sometimes it is the algorithm, and sometimes it's just you picked a wrong title, there's definitely plateaus and jumping through
like,
next levels.
I started the podcast when I interviewed this kid from the UK, 22 views, but I mean, maybe it's because it's an hour and a half and people have like TikTok rot.
It's such a shame that content like that gets less views. Like I remember watching I had one of my favorite like content creators back in the day. He's not on YouTube anymore. He just has a podcast, but he would do like these videos just like making fun of other content creators, other celebrities, and like picking apart the stupid shit they do. and he did one amazing interview for like an hour and a half with Ricky Gervais.
Oh,
And that got like an eighth of the views that he normally gets on his videos because people just aren't interested in just like a fun, nuanced conversation. And granted, it got him like 200,000 views, but he was averaging like 2 million views a video. And he was so deflated. He's like, I just hate that this is what I want to do. I want to talk to my comedic idols. I don't want to just make fun of Kim Kardashian all the time, but that's all you guys want.
Well, that's also where the algorithm and your audience can put you in like a corner of like, no, you're known for documentaries. We just want you to do documentaries. We don't want you to do live stream or shorter videos. Or no, you're just known for that. We don't want you. And it's like, and that's why people make so many channels all of a sudden.
Right. Yeah.
And then instead of just focusing on one channel, you've got like Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers, where he's got like 8 channels, 8 ancillary channels, and then people that all have 4 channels because you can't talk about politics and sports and the thing on your same. I mean, you can, but very few people can get away with that.
I mean, it's Joe Rogan and everybody else.
I was gonna say Rogan can get away with it. Right. Quartering can get away with it. Somehow Jeremy from the Quartering, not to be confused with Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers, he can talk about pop culture and politics, which I don't know how I would be able to do 4 videos a day and live stream like he does without like double dipping into both worlds, because it's fucking thin on the pop culture side unless you want to do like, you can only talk about Gamergate and or the Acolyte's gonna suck. I mean, now we can talk about Fallout, but it's thin on Marvel movies this year by design.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's a great transition to talk about Disney.
I get triggered when you say that word now.
You know, the post-mortem, I mean, is Disney dead? Like, you know, we had Nelson Peltz. I made a video saying that, hey, the fight with Nelson Peltz actually like drew some resources away from Disney, so they had to defend on that front. They have the Gina Carano lawsuit. They have us to deal with.
I think it led to them capitulating in the Reedy Creek, Florida thing and just being like, they gave in on everything. They lost, basically. Right. So they've got a whole... but because they were focused on the Treon...
Oh, of course.
So it's like, it's a Pyrrhic victory, maybe.
Yeah,
I mean, it confirms the timeline we're in. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I mean, they hired what the hell was it called? Publicis Imagine or Publicis Image PR firm to fight Nelson Peltz on this, and even I was getting advertisements on YouTube. Hey, vote this way. And,
I saw it.
Really?
I saw some of them in the YouTube ads where it was like, if you're a Disney stockholder, don't vote the Disney Black or whatever, the Treon Black cards.
Wow. Mm-hmm. That must have just been in the US because I didn't get any of that. I remember seeing that being shared on Twitter, that they were genuinely saying like, vote this way.
They sent
like,
out,
this is who you should vote for.
They sent out ballots already filled out, dude. Like, I don't know how that shit's legal, but I guess it is.
Right. Yeah. I mean, then they also went out for a victory lap. I want to say it was either yesterday or this morning on that Variety article that said, hey, this is like how many votes we got. And it was like so many more votes for us than over. Yeah, it's so many more votes because BlackRock, Vanguard, and all the money men own all of Disney.
I think it was I was watching Valiant Renegade and WDW Pro, like, because I'm an idiot when it comes to financial shit. So like they were explaining that no matter how like the basic general audience voted, 70% of the stocks were already done for by BlackRock, State Street, Vanguard, all those guys. And then George came out and he's the largest and parroted their line about, you can't have an amateur make magic, even though he was a fucking amateur when he made the Star Wars movies. But I digress. Yeah. But it is interesting to note that they did drop like whatever it was, 124 to 117. Like the reaction, it wasn't just us. Like clearly the broader audience was like, oh, well, that's not good. Yeah. At least there was some reaction.
I mean, there's a lot of disconnect in terms of like us and our community, our fellowship, and the normies. So I've actually taken to the comment section on IGN. I was telling Hardcut about this and just started trolling.
I hope you deloused from that comment section.
100%. And then I would always end all my comments with all hail the fellowship and the 199.
Yeah.
At least like one person might go out there and Google it and maybe get red pilled.
You'd be surprised also who you see out there that will recognize it, say something back.
Yeah. I mean,
random comment sections.
the one thing I have hated when we're called grifters, and I'm like, do you know what the word grift means? It means to defraud someone of funds. I'm not defrauding anybody. None of us are.
Well, and even if you take it in their interpretation, because we used it too, like when Jeremy says like respect the grift, that's a different thing than the way they mean it when they say grifting. Like grifting would be me intentionally saying things I don't think or feel just because I thought it would get people to agree with me and watch me and blah, 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 blah. Or like jumping on the bandwagon of something I didn't care about and acting like I cared about it when I don't. Hi, Matt Walsh. Just little things like that. Like that, I think, is what they mean grifting. But as Gary says, authenticity is the only thing. Oh, that was the other huge part. Like, Jesse, you must be very authentic to get that many subs, because the internet will sniff out fakeness. You can't talk to people for that long and put up a facade for that long. So like,
Exactly.
you call us grifters all you want, but that probably means you don't watch our shit. Because I'm at least consistent in my bigoted, racist, homophobic, transphobic, all the things that they want to call us. Like it's not like I say one thing and then do another. Like I'm very consistent in my thoughts and my like levels of what I consider agenda versus just like traditional storytelling. I'm also ironically one of the more, I'm trying to think, willing to forgive for certain things like that, as opposed to like other streamers, like see a trans person be like tranny demon. Like I have no problem with the trans character if you make it work.
Right.
Just don't be lazy.
Exactly.
Just don't be lazy.
Yeah,
Don't make it a stereotype.
Exactly. That's what I like.
If it's well written, I don't give a shit.
Tolerant is what I was going to say. Sorry, it's such a weird thing these days that I forgot the word for it. Tolerant.
Yeah, one of the things I wanted to highlight was Jesse's video that came out today. You talked about exactly this. Everybody attacking the critical drinker
which is like he's the most nicest of all of us, like the most approachable. Yeah. Like if there was a normie that didn't know about any of this, I'd be like, watch Drinkers videos.
Yeah.
The BBC basically put out an article talking about how Disney beating Nelson Peltz was them defeating the critics online who were hating on Disney, and any of the critics online who were saying that Disney isn't good right now are far-right extremists or something like that, they said in the article. And I was just like, how can you say that about a guy who reviewed the movie that came from the Daily Wire and literally said Lady Ballers, and literally said in Lady Ballers that they're doing the exact same thing that Disney did, just on the other side, and it's damaging the overall story of Lady Ballers, and it wasn't that, great of an entertaining watch because they were just too worried about the political aspect rather than actually writing a decent comedic story structure. Like, he's picking apart both sides, saying, just make better films. That's all we want.
And Drinker would be considered like a traditional progressive lefty here. Like he's by no means right wing whatsoever.
Right.
No.
I mean, some are.
Yeah. Gary, like now, sure. The Gary from 2 years ago, before he was exiled from California and, COOF restrictions forced his wife's business to close forever while others got to stay. Like that, you could see the pathway of what put him to the right side of voting. But that's the pathway much of America has, is just a frustration of all of the continued bullshit. Everywhere you look, bullshit. That's the main pathway to most people. It's just frustration.
Yeah. I mean, you see that with the mainstream media. They've lied so many times that people flock to YouTube. Breaking Points, Daily Wire, what's the guy's name? Secular Talk, Ben Shapiro, all across the spectrum. What are the major Matt Taibbi, probably one of the biggest,
Mike Schellenberger, all those guys. Yeah.
That's why you're getting a rise of independent media like we used to have, actually. Like back in the day during colonial times, there was like 300 newspapers. And it's like,
and that's the problem, is there's a couple of golden rules we found out don't really exist anymore. A couple of truths that don't exist. And the first one was your doctor doesn't know everything. They're not magically up to date on every single medicine, side effect, blah, 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 blah. They too check YouTube and just listen to what certain governmental organizations say without looking too much deeper. And also, that is, with the exception of Seth MacFarlane that still thinks this, journalism does not have the same standards, and I'm sure Jesse could speak to this and his parents. Journalism does not have the same set of standards that it used to. Ethically, they do not police each other, and yellow journalism abound.
Yeah, so like Matt Taibbi's book, Hate Inc., it's got Rachel Maddow and maybe Glenn Beck, I think. on the cover, he talks about exactly this, like that journalism used to be like, I hate to say this term, because like you have to respect all jobs, but like a more blue collar job, like back in like 60s, 70s. And then, once the Ivy Leaguers started invading journalism, I want to say in like the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s, the original thing with it was just finding the truth, give me the facts, Walter Cronkite. And then when these Ivy Leaguers came in, it was all about power, right?
Right.
So
it became prestigious.
I was saying, right. So we went from the on the beat reporter smoking a cigarette, trying to find the dirty facts. Watergate came out. It was really fucking popular. And now all the people with the neo-Marxist ideas that there's no such thing as truth or bad or good, just power and power dynamics.
Right. And they want to be close to that power. And so they cozy up to the politicians. They cozy up to the corporations that are basically, I love that meme. I'm sure you guys have seen it. Brought to you by Pfizer.
Yeah.
It's just like...
Or now brought to you by Boeing
Or yeah. I mean, most of like the... it's weird because like the evening news is mostly pharma, but the Sunday like news talk shows, it's all defense companies. They bring on all these like generals, and it's just like, oh yeah, we need to go to war. Yeah, it's like, yeah, of course you need to go to war because you want to make money.
Yeah, well, at least Jesse, you're in Australia, right? So they're not allowed to advertise for. You're not allowed to have drug commercials, but can they fund your other? Because I think only America and New Zealand are the ones that can have, like straight up drug commercials on TV as regular commercials.
Yeah, I think there are. I don't know about the funding rules. We have a lot of strict rules in Australia. Some work well, and I'm glad we have them, and some are pretty crazy. But yeah, we can't advertise drugs on TV or anything like that. And I don't know about the funding. I would assume they are not allowed to fund certain things just because there are a lot of like rules and regulations. Yeah, it's a pretty strict place, Australia. I don't know if you guys know much about it, but like if you guys would have seen
during the camps.
Yes, during COVID, it was a 2-year prison sentence, and it was terrible. Like,
and like
so
your
sometimes
neighbors...
like we had where I live with my parents right now, and we moved from where we were living because they literally got military to come in, and military was in the area patrolling the streets to make sure you weren't outside of your house for more than 40 minutes a day.
It's like that movie Outbreak with Dustin Hoffman.
That's what's funny when people are like, but like the military wouldn't go along with it. They'd be like, yes, they fucking would.
Yeah.
Yes, a large enough would that like the other half would like, ooh, as proven.
Yeah,
as
like,
proven.
But it was just in our specific area. So it was like a few suburbs around that area. And then we ended up moving to this other place where like there's a beach here, and there was no military presence. However, flying over one of the beaches near us was a helicopter telling people to go back home with a loudspeaker, like literally yelling out of the helicopter, you have to get off the beach, go back home, you can't be outside. Like, it was strict for 2 years. It was really challenging.
And now we know that sunlight actually kills COVID.
Now it's been said too, but our response to COVID killed more people than the disease itself, unfortunately. And I guess obviously everything is hindsight, but I want to be like, yeah, but a lot of people were saying this then, that like you should probably have vitamin D, just be healthy and be outside in the fresh. I think like the guys, this happened in America too. Guy like wakeboarding off of Santa Monica pier, like the cops are.
But they want to get you because like pharma companies are the world's largest drug dealers and drug traffickers, right? So they want you to be unhealthy. That's why I don't know if you guys follow Andrew Huberman, the whole like very fake scandal that he had multiple girlfriends. It's like, okay, he had multiple girlfriends, not multiple wives. So
no, and even that they seem disgruntled. I heard it briefly talked about on Joe Rogan, so I'm not an expert. It's like it sounded just like a sort of a character attack.
After him because he espouses, hey, being healthy, working out, sleeping well, staying hydrated. It's like, that's all the stuff you're supposed to do, so they don't wind up on all these drugs.
Well, that also goes into a larger health conversation of just how fat and like near death everyone is. Like everyone had lack of vitamin D. deficiency, and everyone had a comorbidity where like they were at least obese, and then on top of that they had another like diabetic or this or this or this. So like, yeah, if only. And then, apparently we blew out a bunch of people's lungs over incubating when we shouldn't, which caused the lungs to either blow out or give up. It's
Or
just
get
leaving.
burned by the oxygen because, like, you can't breathe pure O2.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've
It was a
heard
learning
all these
curve.
stories.
None of our atmosphere is nitrogen, man. Like,
Well, I bring it up just because I think like, we would do it all again. The idiots would still follow. Some people wouldn't follow. I still see people walking around with masks. So even though the CDC now, at least here, and I still don't trust them because they said a lot of dumb, wrong shit, but they're like, treat it like the flu now. It's now in the same class as the flu. So it's like,
man, like,
but that's what we
So
said. from the-
I have a funny story about masks, right?
Yeah.
Due to my parents' job, we had to like move around the world a lot because my dad was a foreign correspondent. And so at one point in time, we had to move to Hong Kong. And when we were moving there is when there was the SARS disease back in 2001, 2002. And people were saying like, oh, it's super dangerous. You can't go there. We moved there. And doctors were saying, oh, there's no point wearing a mask. Masks don't do anything. And so we were there during SARS at like the peak of it, the most like dangerous hotbed area. And they're like, oh no, don't wear masks. Masks don't do anything. And then now probably people invested in companies that made masks and they were like, wear your masks.
It all came out, unfortunately. And I watched a lot of those hearings where Fauci said it. He said they don't work.
right.
He said you touch your face and you get a bit of these masks are meant to be worn for 30 minutes at a time, and you're not supposed to be touching. It's supposed to be very well fit, and you get some schmutz, and it actually makes it more dangerous. Right. And then they fucking realized everyone was buying masks, and so they lied because they thought they were going to run out for medical professionals, and then they couldn't say that they lied because they were going to run. They had to double down and then slowly go, well, maybe you wear two. And it's like, it doesn't, can you breathe? It's like, yes. Okay, well, if air can get through, the COVID molecule was microns smaller than that can get through. And it's, I think, Dr. I Love, he said, it's like throwing sand at a chain link fence, thinking like, I'm protected. From a grain or two, maybe, but the vast
I don't know if you guys
majority.
had this in the US, but here we had like the worst flu season we've ever had, and people were getting really sick from the flu because immunity was all down.
Yep.
Because for 2 years we were in lockdown, no one was getting any sickness.
Yep.
And so now just the common cold, the common flu was just wiping people out. I was sick for like 10 days with the flu. I thought I was dying. I was like, what is this?
That was the George Carlin bit about your body needs germs to practice on, and that when he was a kid, no one got polio because they swam in liquid shit. Like they swam in the Hudson River, so they were tempered in liquid shit. That is, yes, everyone were like the Geth from, not the Geth, the Quarians from Mass Effect, where we were sealed off in our little bio bubbles for so long. We have no immune systems anymore.
Yeah.
Well, I stayed out the whole time. Shout out, just saying. Even though I was in California the whole time, you get some dirty looks every once in a while at the height of it, but
Well, I got
stay away from me then. Stay away from the maskless man.
I was going for a run in the park, and some
Put your mask
older
on.
lady was like, wear a mask. And I'm like, I'm not fucking wearing a mask when I'm going running and it's 90 degrees out. Sorry. Peace out.
One older lady I walked by, she went, oh, no mask? And I went, no, ma'am, because it's a respiratory disease. And we've found out now that we're in pretty good airflow. So unless we're in a tight contained space, and like I went through this whole thing, she's like, oh, I was like, have a good day. And walk out. But they're literally just captured. We lost a lot of people that like a combination, we talked about the combination of Trump derangement syndrome and COVID, and then just economy, whatever, just they're gone. Their ability to reason without immediately going to emotion and like shutting down all their thinking process it's rough.
Yeah, I mean, just last
they all
summer,
vote.
I was just going for my morning walk to get my bagel, and I saw, like, it was during the summer, so all the parents were dropping off kids to go to summer camp or whatever, and there was like a family of four, husband, wife, two kids, all wearing not just a mask, not just an N95, but what looked to be like the Top Gun mask. Like, it was plastic and like covered half their face. My biggest regret was not taking a picture and making a meme out of it. This is your brain on CNN.
Yeah. No, like I was gonna say, respect to the people that wore like the KN95 and wore it correctly and like really thought, but just the people that just just wore a piece of cloth, 4 or 2 or 3 different regular ones. I was like, come on.
This is gonna save my life, yeah,
Yeah.
and save my
Well,
grandparents and my
That's
parents.
the thing is, ironically, it would make them like bolder, for lack of a better term. So they would thinking they were protected, like they have a magic rock that keeps dinosaurs away. You don't see any dinosaurs, do you? Well,
Yeah, I mean, I was at the theater to see the Matrix 25th year anniversary edition,
it's a great
and
movie.
yeah, I mean, phenomenal. By the way, I'm gonna call out the Regal in Times Square. You fuckers need to work on your sound system because it was way too low for a movie like The Matrix. But anyway, so the guy sitting next to me comes in with a mask and then just starts eating popcorn with the mask out. It's like, what's the freaking point, man?
Yeah.
You're gonna
that
have
was
this
the
like
table
buttery mask, like
Yeah.
salty buttery.
It holds in the flavor. You just
It's also amazing how well that movie holds up.
Yeah.
After 25 years.
Well, we are now we've been in it, apparently.
Yeah. Yeah. And
It's
there's
just,
those of us that are red pilled and there's those of us that are blue pilled.
I know. And then we've elevated that to black and
Black
white pill.
Right.
I think I'm gray pilled right now.
Oh, God.
Because every time I want to be fully white pilled, more dumb shit happens. And I'm dangerously close to. But no, like with Disney, I think there's nothing left to do except they are done. They're not dead. They make so much money, even with their failing, they make so much money. So they're not dead, but like they're sort of dead in the hearts and minds. They alienated the core group that loved and spent money on them.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, the very next day after the proxy fight, they announce what's her name? The chick from Ozark, Julia Garner, as a Silver Surfer, and I'm like, oh my God.
What were you going to say, Jess, before that?
That's the thing. So I don't know if Paul saw this, but I went to Japan recently, and I went to Disneyland there, and that's my closest Disneyland. And I wanted to go there and record there and talk about it in a video about the difference between how Disneyland is still super successful versus their movies. And so I was there, and it was booming. It was raining. There were heaps of people, and I was looking up how much money they made. Like, it's just insane. And however, the reason it does so well and the rides I was going on and stuff is all based on the amazing movies they had in the past. Yeah. And so I just don't understand their strategy of, let's prioritize Disneyland, let's prioritize merchandise because that makes us the most money and not worry about the movies. But at the end of the day, if these movies continue to suck for 5 or 6 years, less people are now going to go to Disneyland. And they saw that with the Star Wars hotel.
Well, unless they're going to Disney World too. They're going to Universal, which is expanding rapidly.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that Galactic Star Cruiser was doomed from the start because before, like when the idea was there and that not leaked footage, but like there was that concept art of like an actual Star Wars land that was all the popular planets from the OT and the prequel, that regardless of the sequel trilogies, people would have still gone there for for like you said, the classic movies, they would have gone there for the classic Star Wars, but you couldn't even give us that sequel trilogy on. That's all Kathleen, who said, why would we give them things of the old? That's old fans. Let's do stuff that we had a hand in. Shooting yourself in the foot.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Not to mention the fact that they were also charging like I don't know what it was, like $1,500 a night or something. Like,
I want to
what
say for
family
two
can
people,
afford that these days?
Yes, for 2 people for 2 days, it was at least like $35,000 to $4,000, and then for a family of 4, it was like $6,000 to $8,000 for 2 fucking days. And then when you look inside, it was lame.
To like wherever in the world for that money.
Yeah,
and then you got to pay for the food there. Like Disneyland food is not cheap.
No, you could go on like a week cruise, like a real nice week-long cruise, like here on Earth, for that, as opposed to just 2 days at the Galactic Star Cruiser, which again, sequel trilogy setting and lackluster events because we've all seen some of the leaked videos and it's just no fun Disney.
And I mean, Disney Plus isn't doing very well either.
I don't know if this number is confirmed, but I saw someone saying that in total, since inception, Disney Plus is down like $28 billion. Like in totality since inception.
I saw that number as well. I actually did a video a couple months ago on the amount of money that Disney's lost, like in their stock, in their like price, right? Their shoulder price. I'm not the biggest finance guy, so if I use the wrong terminology here, but I know how much money they've lost.
Quote us on this. We're all idiots on the internet. But the last numbers we heard, it's not good.
It was down $128 billion from the start of 2020
Yeah.
to 2023.
And like you can give COVID a lot of the blame. I'll let them have a lot of that blame, but a lot of shit in the last year and a half, 2 years. Is
No
all
other
Disney's
studio went
decision.
down 128
Yeah.
billion.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I understand going down 30 to 50, of course. Like,
Yeah.
COVID's going to take a chunk out of every business, but 128. When you were the front runner, you had Disney Plus, you had all these amazing movies before, and like, I don't know if you guys are noticing this, but do you guys think that other studios are already starting to make a shift?
Oh,
And
yeah,
they're already starting to
yeah.
put out better
Yeah, we talked
projects,
about this.
but Disney is doubling down on the crap
no.
that doesn't work.
Because I said this, what I'm about to say, and then I'm going to immediately get the correction that I always get, and I said anyways. I say Disney will be the last one to learn the lesson, and then they won't learn the lesson. In other words, they'll be the last one to change, but they won't change. They'll ride it into the ground. Every other company, we've even heard it on that Silk Society, that they, well, I think this is separate because it was a holdover from the strike, but they got rid of their writer's room, and now they're focusing on the male gaze, like GAZE, not GAY. They're done focusing on the male gaze, and now they want like that straight white, the problematic group again that spent money and watched the shit to begin with that they alienated. Right. Yeah, Disney will never do that. They've too many of,
and they're doubling down, tripling down. They're constantly like I've been watching X-Men '97, and it's getting worse and worse. I remember Gambit was like this ladies' man, getting laid left and right, and now he's a total beta male cuck, like literally a cuck. And the whole like relationship between Magneto and Rogue, it's like, oh, so he met her when he was an old man and she was like 15. What are you trying to say here?
His silver hair, it's always been ambiguous to me of how old he is. He's one of those guys that's been like 50 forever, whatever he is forever. But like, yeah, I know in the comics
to go after somebody under 18.
I think she's supposed to be in her 20s at the time. In the Dark Brotherhood when she was like when Rogue was bad. But it's one of those things, just like Julia Garner as Silver Surfer. Was there a point in time where it happened? Yes. But did you have to go with that decision storyline in your new one, knowing what it would signify? Did you have to go with that and then announce it like 4 hours after the Disney won their thing? It's a double down. It's a fuck you. They knew what they were doing.
And that's what Gary was talking about in one of his videos, that all the shills come out where it's like, well, actually, Silver Surfer was a girl. It's like, yeah, after the year 2000, when like the progressives took over and ruined comics and basically destroyed the entire industry.
Oh, I thought just was going to say something.
Yeah, man. Sorry, go on.
No, go ahead. I was waiting. I didn't want to interrupt you. Otherwise, I would have said something. That's their tactic they have. Is they don't follow the comics,
and it's just
and then
crazy
when they do
because
follow the comics, it's because of that. They did it just so that they could do it in the movies. Say, see, we did it in the comics.
It's so obvious that they're just looking for any excuse to try and be able to defend a strategy that doesn't work. So why not just pick the strategy that works? Because the thing is, like I always talk about in videos, is like there are countless examples of movies that were diverse, that made a lot of money, were well liked by fans, and performed great critically. So you don't have to, like, diversity won't ruin a movie's performance.
Yeah.
But when you make that the sole purpose of why you're even telling the story to begin with, and when you try and weasel diversity in, rather than going to countless other female MCU heroes, female heroes that you could bring in that were always female in the comics, you then get the one where, like, there was a little spin-off and she was female. It's like, no, stick to the ones that everyone knows and likes, and there are female examples in the comics that people like too. And as long as you just don't butcher them like you did with She-Hulk, it'll be fine. But also, don't go 100% female. Like, like you can have everything.
Yeah, and She-Hulk had the potential to be the female version of Deadpool. Breaking the fourth wall, making all sorts of jokes, and they just went hard left down that.
She-Hulk's supposed to be fun in the comics. She's not fun.
Yeah.
Like, there's a difference between like being sexually liberated and being a drunken whore that will sleep with a dude for a basket of French fries, which is quite literally what happens in the She-Hulk TV show. It was like, don't get me wrong, I'm not turning her down, but it was like you could have written this differently to make her not look so bad and pathetic all the time.
And if you're about pushing messages and trying to benefit society, what's the message there? Like,
but they're not.
Is that a good message to teach young women? Hey, you want French fries? Sleep with anyone for it. Like,
all of these adaptions take intention and skill, and their intentions are bad, and their skill is lacking. And I mean, that's just been proven across the board.
Look at the writers of She-Hulk. It's basically
Jennifer Gao. She said it was a troll.
These single cat ladies that have slept their way around and have still not realized that, hey, you should just maybe settle down for one guy rather than sleep around and, start a family. But, oh no, we were liberated and we have to be girl bosses. The whole thing is ludicrous, and they're putting all their views into it, which every writer does that. But, those views are just bad.
Yeah, but there was a nuance to that.
Right. Yeah, it's...
And there's a weird thing as well now where it's like, for some reason, they feel like they can't even create a bad character. Like, a character can still be entertaining, benefit the story, that isn't a good person. And we understand that. Like, there were plenty of examples, like, ages ago of old movies where there are bad characters. We know they're bad. We wouldn't be friends with them, but they make for a good story.
Yeah, well, and Fallout, actually, we talk about that. That had plenty of characters in it, this one, that are like, oh, he's an asshole. I sort of like him, but I would kill him in a second if I was in the game. Like, yeah, no, and like, I know just before we pivot to that, I would say, like, shows like The Gentleman, which I finally finished. It's like, oh, this is a 10 out of 10 perfect show. And this is how you do diversity and strong women and characters that this is how you do a straight white male that's not toxic, that has some morals, but can also have a sense of humor and can do the right thing while doing the wrong thing. Boy, did that take skill. Of course, now I'm diehard for Guy Ritchie. I'm like, yes, bring me all
Guy
the
Ritchie's
things.
the king of that, man.
Yeah.
I just ignore that Swept Away exists, and then I like pretty much everything Guy Ritchie's made.
Yeah, I've never watched
Don't.
it.
And
that is the Madonna one, right? The beach.
He just wanted to pay his wife a little bit, I think.
Yeah.
I also harp on Taylor Sheridan and the whole Yellowstone universe, because, like, the strong female character Beth Dutton, perfect. Like, her character arc. It's like, okay, yeah, she's a bitch, and then you're like, oh, that's why. And it makes for a nice, complete character.
And Lucy McLean in this Fallout, she's the least offensive thing about the show. She's very likable. She has a very good arc. She's got a couple fight scenes, and I didn't think it was like Whammon or like Ray Skywalker, or it was all explained and made sense. So
full disclosure, I've only watched the first 3 episodes. Badger, I know you've...
It's like 3 hours. You can't get the hang of something by 3. That was my point. I was like, boy, did they take a long time getting through to some of the character moments.
Yeah, I don't mind Lucy. Maximus, like I was telling you backstage, I find... I don't know what the actor's name is. He just can't act. Like you mentioned, he might be a better version of Finn from Star Wars, but that still, doesn't say a lot. There's something to be said.
He gets better. He does get better. I don't think he's a bad actor. It's just I think that the character they had him is like he's borderline retarded sometimes, and I think that is them like he is very childlike to the point of like he makes a comment, a joke about not knowing about erections and coming and shit like that, and that leads to some very like I'm not saying there weren't sex jokes in Fallout, but the way their dialogue, it was just it threw me out of it. And like I told you, none of the humor actually made me laugh when I know they wanted me to.
Yeah, and Fallout is known as a series that it's a satire of American culture, just like Earthbound was.
Got that.
And it was it just all the jokes are falling flat.
That's the thing I don't understand now. Is like these shows and these movies that are coming out are meant to be like the peak of cinema. Like you have to earn your right to be able to direct, write, produce these types of shows and movies. They're hiring these writers that haven't earned that right yet. They're just not good enough yet. Not to say they won't be later down the line, but if you can't write a funny joke, you don't you shouldn't deserve that opportunity yet. Like everyone sucks in the beginning. I
Yeah, well,
understand.
that
but
all is
work your
definitely
way
true
up.
for Disney.
Yeah,
Their writers specifically. This I think is more because I was noting it was like it wasn't just Jonathan Nolan. Most of these episodes were written by other people and directed by other people, and the failure wasn't like the jokes maybe would be funny, but like in the context of Fallout, a bunch of shit threw me out. Like the DEI casting threw me out. Some of the commentary and dialogue just threw me out. It's just I don't know. Again, that's where I'm like maybe I'm broken. I have to watch too many horrible things by bad people that I don't have the ability to gauge. Were you able to watch any of it, Jesse? I know it just came out.
No, I haven't seen it yet. That's why,
Yeah.
I'm just staying out of
No,
trying to
no,
comment
because
on
it's-
overall.
I think I was right on some things, but on others, it's like the world itself. Have you played any of the Fallout games?
Yes, I have. Yeah.
Oh yeah, so like it's super accurate and loyal to the game's lore and like the look and feel and all that. So at least with this, it's like it's certainly no sin like Halo or a Rings of Power or anything like that. It's not disrespectful.
Yeah, and it had like a lot of good references to the games, like the special abilities when she
It had a lot.
first talking about her endurance. That I really liked. Then the stuff with the bottle caps, which I guess like normie audiences wouldn't know that.
They're gonna have. That's what I was saying. It was like I sort of had to stop calling it key jangling because it's not key jangling. They just literally created the fucking Fallout world there in live action. So everything that would be there is there. All the weapons, all the things. When people talk and the things they do, I'm like, oh, he's doing like the Walter Goggins character, the Ghoul, is very clearly using the addicted perk. Which in the games is you suffer heavy withdrawal effects, but as long as you're on stims, you get all these benefits. Of like, there's a scene where he's just everything he can get his hands on drinking. It's like now, unless you played the game, you wouldn't know about that. You would just think this guy's got a real problem, but you wouldn't get that he's doing that first. But I think I give it as like I want to say 6.5 out of 10, but I could say I'm gonna probably go to 7 out of 10 eventually. In hindsight, and almost all of my complaints for the most part are just like I find the DEI casting distracting on some of the things.
Yeah, like what was that Squire or whatever?
Oh shit, it's a chick.
I'm like
with the mustache.
It
It's a very
looks like a dude,
gender
and
fluid
then
look.
starts speaking, and I'm like, oh god, no.
I have less of a problem with it in a post-apocalyptic and/or vault where you would have a very balanced racial like thing for genetic purposes. It's the retro 50s. Like, I'm sorry, it's still supposed to be our 50s. Interracial marriages were not condoned or common at that point. Everyone had a perfect makeup at the party, and everyone on the board was like, oh, the black woman. This is like, no. Even now, we're not that diverse. That's the whole DEI point, is that like 70% of board members are white dudes. Are you fucking telling me in the 50s? That threw me out. I know. And everyone's like, I could hear, because everyone says this when you point something out, like in something fantastic like this, and they go, why do you care about that, but you don't care about robot or any dumb shit? And it's like, but that's the point. In a world like this, be it Star Wars or whatever, the more fantastic shit you want me to believe, the little things need to just make sense.
Yeah.
So I don't, you know what I'm saying? So, that's why I do suspend my disbelief for the bigger ones, like the FEV and ghouls and shit like that.
Yeah, and like the little thing that really I hate that the show hasn't addressed, at least through the third episode, was when you're eating food, you're getting rads. So when she's asking for water, that's dirty water. That's not her purified water from the vault. And
water, they do address that. That's a fucking plot point, that she drinks irradiated water. That is addressed.
Okay, all right.
The food people eat, like the yum deviled eggs and other things like that, they don't mention that it is preserved through isotopes and that you're getting low level rads. But it could be inferred and assumed that and the water drinking tops her off. I think she had the best storyline. Like,
yeah.
So if you're not watching all 8 episodes, it basically is more or less the plot of Fallout 3, where the Lucy character has to go out of the vault to look for her father. Meanwhile, everyone is looking for this guy that has left the remnants of the Enclave and has a MacGuffin, which is not a MacGuffin because you actually find out what it is, and it is a suit, and it's an important relic from the old world. So eventually, everyone, for one reason or another, is looking for this Enclave guy.
Played by the guy.
So all roads are leading in the same direction.
I forget what the actor's name was. The guy that played.
Yeah, he was in Lost and a couple other. Yeah, no, he's good. That's. Man, like the brutality is there, but sometimes it did throw me out when it's like, oh my god, just it's supposed to be violent and gory, but it's, I guess, when you use it, it could be serious or goofy or just like
Right.
over the top. And trust me, I'm desensitized. So for me to be like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I mean, I tried to go for the killer. What was that? Killer shot perk, where I just go for a headshot every time in the game. So
Oh, and like you could definitely tell he was using VATS in a couple of the
right,
fights, just how quick and
exactly.
the scanning, which is like the player sitting there spamming the left bumper, trying to see if VATS picks any target up. Like again, I just wonder, because if you're watching it, there's a lot there. Like the ox horns and the guys on YouTube that analyze lore videos, they're gonna go fucking crazy. I can't wait to watch those videos. But I wonder what a normie that doesn't know anything about this thinks of what's going on, or how.
Yeah, I mean, just like you were saying backstage about the Brotherhood, like none of them were acting as they should with like honor, whatever. And you know, I don't know whether that's bad writing, bad acting. I'm actually super glad about what happened to Michael Rappaport's character, because I can't stand him as an actor or as a human.
He shows up in like a cameo very briefly,
but like he doesn't act like a Brotherhood of Steel person.
No. And I'm sure lore, because I've sort of heard him say it, and there are very different amounts of chapters of the Brotherhood of Steel. And even though this is West Coast, even on that coast, there are different ones, and that this one is clearly a more monastic version. But they really were leaning into like corrupt Catholic Church, corrupt type of things, as opposed to a more like, sure, monastic. Obviously, they're knights and scribes and shit, but they do have more virtues. And that, I don't know. You could, it's a choice. It's certainly a choice.
I mean, my OCD went off when the guy's like, "Oh, a mutated bear." I'm like, no, it's a Yao Guai.
It's a Yao Guai. Yeah. So then you wonder how colloquial the terms are.
Yeah, that threw me off, but I mean, that's just my OCD nerdiness really kicking into overdrive. You know, that's a minor thing. So, I mean, 3 episodes in, so far, so good.
Yeah, I guess if
I've got
you're
to watch it. I really
Fallout, I say if you're a fan of Fallout and you played the games, I guess I could recommend it. I don't know if I would recommend this to someone who doesn't know.
Yeah,
that has limited time to be like, here, go watch 8 hours of this. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it does cater to the gamers. You know, with all the little Easter eggs they left around. Remind me the pink creature in the lake, because I never played Fallout 76.
The Gulper.
The Gulper, yeah. I was thinking like that originally was their interpretation of a Mirelurk, but I guess that's not.
There were a couple things we didn't see. We didn't see any of those. We didn't see super mutants.
Oh yeah.
I thought for a second we were seeing New California Republic Rangers, but it was just the armor. It was like the LA Riot Squad armor someone was using. But it was a nod. It was a nod to it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know if like the show in the second season or wherever is going to go down. Like
if it gets one. It set it up for second season. I will say that.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, like, because one of the more interesting parts of New Vegas was all the factions. Yeah. And, you know, having to make a choice of like, who you go.
I will say maybe the last shot of the series is a certain city.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So they got my interest peaked in it, but it's strictly for not because it was great television, but because I'm a Fallout fan and I want the lore, because this is all in current times. So everything that's happened is like the newest information that we've gotten since Fallout 4.
So this is what's supposed to be taking place, 10 years before or after Fallout 3 or 4?
It is the most recent one, so it should be just after 4. Is 2272 or 3 or somewhere like right after where. So like water should be purified on the East Coast thanks to the 3rd game and the 4th game. The Institute, the Mass Institute, whatever, they were doing all the synthetics. They should be taken care of by the sole survivor. And then there should be a whole Brotherhood chapter on the East Coast. This is all on the West Coast. We find out what happens to Shady Sands, which was a city from the earlier.
Yeah.
Spoiler, not good things.
Yeah. Do you know if they dropped any hints for Fallout 5?
No, but if you were to infer what that MacGuffin is that he's carrying from the Enclave and what they end up doing with it, that could be a setup. I don't know if that's just obviously a setup for the second season, but that would be that is the biggest event to have happened in the Fallout universe since I think the water purification technology of the 3rd game.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, and I was just seeing this. Someone in the modding community. Sorry, I'm getting the.
You're in
No,
New
no
York,
problem.
bro.
It's
It's
New
the
York. You
sounds of
can't
New York.
apologize.
Yes.
Yeah, and they're gonna go ape shit because like people don't
Yeah.
want to let them pass.
Look, Spider-Man just swung by.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, but what I was gonna say was, and now I lost my train of thought
So sorry.
entirely.
Talk
There's some
about
people
Fallout.
I know in the modding community
Yeah.
that are trying to make Fallout London.
Oh, I think that they have.
Fallout
They've
4.
made DLC. It's almost out, I believe, where they fully made like what would be an expansion pack if a company had done it of London. Yeah, with storyline. I think they used AI to do voices and add in
Wow.
NPCs.
Yeah, and I wonder how they would handle the humor because like the Fallout humor is very American.
Probably great.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh no, I'm assuming they will tackle it the same way any of those like a BioShock handles it, where it's the same humor, just Britishized.
Right. Yeah.
Shouldn't be hard. They're British, so.
I mean, so it's good that they're setting up for a second season. It's nice to see that Amazon didn't screw another show up like they did with Rings of Power.
Say, I'm sure there were people that don't like it, and yeah, there are a couple of decisions. There is one decision I don't like that I can't even say why because it might spoil something. So I at least I guess have enough respect for the show that I don't want to spoil it. But
I was going to say, I'm glad that Amazon possibly doing a lot for the source material, honoring the fans of the video games more so than first-time viewers, might be them learning from Rings of Power. Maybe they're trying, and it's needed now. I do think like a show that maybe prioritizes source material, prioritizes the original fan base over gaining a new fan base is definitely needed, given the fact that recently source material and original fan bases have just been screwed over.
Yeah, well, and I'll say to that end also, I did not get the desire to go back and do anything about Lord of the Rings from Rings of Power, and I did not get the desire to play Halo like any more than I already had.
Right.
Did get the desire to go back, and as I was saying before, I just bought like the ultimate because it was like $3 on sale, the Ultimate Edition and Game of the Year edition of 3 and 4, just so on PC to play through it again. So it's like, if nothing else, that might actually get people to go, yeah, this universe is interesting, and then play the games, and then realize the games are superior.
Very well written. The games are phenomenal.
Great. Yeah.
Like
I think they're great.
Humor, everything, like the satire, everything about them is great. I'm kind of sad I didn't discover it until Fallout 3.
Well, yeah, and then you were saying you didn't. Fallout New Vegas has some of the better humor too, and the DLC and Old World Blues, and yeah.
I mean, the soundtrack in the show is fantastic.
There was a couple. There was good. They had all the old school, 50s music, and they had some musical cues. There's one musical cue in the 6th episode that genuinely got a smile out of me. Okay. That was like it's intro music or whatever, but that's all it takes. That's all it takes. It's just little things at the right time.
I mean, all you have to do is respect the fans, write stuff well. It's really 2 things. Or 3 things: world building, character development, and story. Yeah. Those are the 3 legs of the tripod of anything good.
Exactly. Yeah. And anyone that says, oh, well, it's like, it's simple to say, but hard to implement. It's like, well, if you can't implement it, you don't deserve to have that job. Because if you're going to write movies, you should be a master of telling a story.
That's what otherwise, every time the showrunner goes, well, it didn't translate well. It's like, no, it means you failed to translate it.
Yes.
Do better or
the
get
work's
someone
not
else.
On the audience. The work is on you.
Yeah.
You're the one getting paid. I'm paying to see this.
Well, and just real quick, because we talked about it. Did you see that the showrunner, Albert Kim, for the Avatar has left? He's not going to be the showrunner anymore. He's gone off to do, I think he's executive producing Percy Jackson now for Disney. So Avatar is showrunnerless now.
Wow.
Right. Well, I didn't like the first season.
Nor did I.
At all.
I stayed away from anime or reviewing live action anime because I've gotten destroyed about how I pronounce, little things. Like all the autists came out, and I'm like, okay, the anime community is like very dedicated. Like I can't make any mistakes.
Yeah, that review I did of Avatar is like one of my worst like to dislike ratios. I think it's like 68% like, just because there are some diehard fans out there. And I was like, hey, I grew up watching Avatar just like you guys. this show sucks.
Yeah, and most of
Like-
them, if you listen to like what they like, they were just happy that it was better than the movie. And I was like, but that's not saying anything.
Right.
It's not saying
That was one of the
anything.
worst
Very low
movies
bar.
ever. They couldn't even say his name right. Okay,
Yeah.
anything's going to be better than that movie. Yeah,
I hated. Yeah, no. What the gentleman really did prove to me how much wasted space there is in writing, and even Fallout a little bit, where they could have tightened up some things. When the gentleman who is 8 hours and can have like 40-minute episodes that feel like 2-hour episodes with that much character and all that. How the hell could the Avatar that had an hour not do what the cartoon did in 20-minute episodes? Just no, that's just waste. Again, and that is a failure of a showrunner not able to. So at least Fallout did far better than that. I at least feel like they tried. I do at least feel like they tried. Yes, there was that vegetable that no one wants that they keep putting on all the fucking plates, the casting and the wafiness and the non-binary that forget not you, Jesse, but a lot of your generation that just is like, what my generation would call a gay man is just now a normal straight dude, because we've so made masculinity toxic that sometimes they just become gay men, for lack of it. That was what the Sadia Khan on Star Wars Theory was talking about. So like, yeah, that's there, but everything else they tried, at least in the world and the lore, and there was some whammon bosses, but traditional and understandable, at least as far as like NPCs and the games are concerned, where there are also female bosses. So.
Yeah.
I think it was like a decent adaptation. Let's see where they take it second season, because Jonathan
Let's see
Nolan,
if it gets a second, and then let's see where they take it.
well, right, but like Jonathan Nolan, apparently I never watched Westworld, but apparently it was fantastic first season.
Great first season.
It went completely off the cliff downhill.
Yeah.
In the following seasons, and then I don't know, did they end up canceling it officially?
Yeah, they can. Yeah, the first season's great. I mean, I liked parts of the second one. The third one is just like oof, and then that fourth one is just completely off the rails, and then they canceled it. They did not let them, which is I had no interest of even seeing.
Yeah,
how they were going to try.
I thought it was a red flag that they were releasing it a day early.
So did I, and all at once.
And all at once, yeah.
So the only thing I can think of is that because, like I said, like I hated a lot of the characters for the vast majority, and it wasn't until like the last 2 episodes where I started and looking like that's 7 hours is a long time to have characters like fucking like do what they probably should have done, like character wise, learned a lesson 2 episodes ago.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's fine to not like a character because it's encouraged sometimes, but like if the character is ultimately supposed to be, I don't know. It was just weird timing and pacing, and those are my biggest complaints. And I think that could just be strung up to the fact that there's a lot of different writers on this. Actually, it wasn't just Jonathan Nolan.
Plus, we've been burned for so long that like
my pattern recognition is insane right now.
I thought it was okay, but I don't know how to feel about it.
I think I did. It's a lot of like I don't know whether I was taken advantage of or not.
Right.
No, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've been hoodwinked for so long and gotten so much garbage that it's hard to tell what's good anymore.
Yeah, my complaints were there, but they were traditional, not what I thought, and could be accused of being nitpicky, and I couldn't defend that either. Like, you know what I'm saying? I think I said he was like a Ray and a Finn, which is true, except Finn actually gets the girl, sort of, and he's a more improved version of him as far as like someone who's part of a empire they may or may not want to be a part of. They just want to be a good person. How can they be a good person in a bad world type of thing, whatever. But he also acts autistically retarded most of the time, and he's like, it's not the actor, that's how they wanted him. They wanted him on like almost naive of his body and like things he does, but I don't know, it was
I mean, if he came from a vault, that would be more understandable because he's like enclosed. But he's been out in the wasteland.
Yes, and he's raised with other Brotherhood of Steel who have come from other areas, and they would have been talking the barracks, and they even show it, and it was weird.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I feel so bad for so many actors these days that just like they have no say in what these stories are saying. They have no say in how their characters are written. All they need is a job so they can pay their rent and afford whatever if they have a kid or something. Like I just feel so terrible.
It's easier to say we should tell them to just say no. Some of them I hold to more standard than that.
Yes.
But like, I don't
But the
know.
one, like, I feel bad more so like the Leonardo DiCaprios of the world, they can say no for 3
Right.
years and they're fine. It's the ones coming in, like, if they say no once, they'll never get another opportunity. And
well,
they're
like the
just
Charlie Cox
screwed.
and She-Hulk, where it's like, man, I understand because he just wanted he wanted Daredevil to come back, and so this was the
Yes.
kiss the ring to get that and all that. But then, like, you hear one of the reasons we haven't seen John Barenthal is he basically has refused to come back as the Punisher until now. Of course, now he's coming back in a storyline that has him hunting cops using his symbol. So we'll see how that goes. But he must have found it appropriate for the return.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it you kind of feel bad because it's really not the actor's fault, but it's the writer's fault. And I was just watching this this video that dropped today from.
Sometimes it's the actor's fault. But most of the time, it's not their fault.
Yes.
Yeah. Sometimes
Picard is Patrick Stewart's fault. He was one of the main writers, and while I love him as an actor, he's a shit writer because God, there were some horrible decisions with Picard. It wasn't.
What I
that
found so
third
funny
one.
about that is that he wrote a terrible show after, I don't know if you guys had seen Extras, that Ricky Gervais comedic series he did, where he would pretend to be an extra on different film sets with big famous actors. He had one episode with Patrick Stewart, and Patrick Stewart's like, oh, let me pitch you this television series idea. And it was just horrible. It was like the worst. And so he was already called a terrible writer by Ricky Gervais 20 years before.
Yeah. Well, and it just goes to show you can, but it takes a lot of man, no one wants to see a legacy character deconstructed again. Just let them fucking be. That's why Top Gun worked, because Maverick didn't come in and be deconstructed by all the hot shots. He had age and experience, and he used them to his benefit, and he had flaws, but he overcame and he inspired everyone around him. And now, in the second Top Gun, I'm looking forward to the Glenn Powell's now big movie star. So it can be done. You could have done it, but that just goes back to, like I said, intention and the ability to do it. And they have neither.
Yeah.
They have neither.
Yeah, I mean, there was a video that dropped today from this large channel, Moon, talking about like the toxicity of modern Hollywood. Is that these actors come in poor, so they basically are getting taken advantage of by people in power. Yeah, there's the Harvey Weinsteins and the Kevin Spaceys, but it's essentially, hey, they need a job, so they need to push whatever agenda the suits want to push. And so we get into this weird cycle where we keep getting bad stories perpetuated by poor actors that like just need a job. So you got to feel bad for some of them. Some
I have a lot of sympathy for a lot of actors, just as well. Like, some of them don't get their opportunity till they're 29, 30 years old. By that point, they've only done acting, so they haven't got a degree, they haven't got experience in any other job. So that's their only plan. Like, they have nothing to fall back on, so they need to make it work. And if they're told, hey, you got to get down with this, you got to do this, and this, you got to say yes to this type of project, they're just going to do it because they need the money, and it's sad.
Yeah.
I feel bad for them. Unfortunately, most of the ones on social media calling us all Yahtzees.
That's on them. What
That's
they
a whole
say
nother
on social
level
media, what they do, like it, that's their own problem.
That is the downfall of. That's what happened to celebrities. Is there's no more movie stars
Social
for the
media.
most part. We found out who they really were. There's no more glitz and glam. They're basic bitches. They're dumber than most of us.
I used to get told this all the time from my parents, like just through some of the famous people they've got to interview over time. And they're like, and this is before social media, they'd always tell me, they're not that interesting. I just want to let you know, they're not that interesting.
Well, and,
a lot of them,
Anthony
like some are.
sort of said it. Well, some are super interesting. Right. No, 100%.
Yeah.
But for every one of that, there's just a dumb, vapid one that all that's in their head is the last fucking script they read and what they were trying to do with that character, and then move on to the next. Like,
yeah,
I think even
like,
Johnny Depp
I know
said
my
that,
dad.
he doesn't even remember
my dad got to
how
meet
to talk because he changed his voice so much, Johnny Depp. So he doesn't even remember what his original voice sounds like.
Yeah, like Austin Butler.
Yeah, he
still
did.
sounds like Elvis.
Shout out to Austin Butler.
But my dad got to meet Tom Cruise. He did like a 30-minute interview with him back in the day, and he got to do like a week with Christian Bale in this like show thing they did. And he was like, Tom Cruise, I like his movies. There is nothing going on behind the eyes, nothing going on in the head. He's a just absolute boring guy. And he's like, Christian Bale, one of the most interesting, most friendly, most cool guys you'll ever meet.
I'm one of those that I defended him during that Christian Bale. Not that I had a channel at the time, but like, remember that Christian Bale rant? the fuck are you doing? The famous one.
Oh, yeah.
Fair enough. That guy was like walking in the sand behind him.
Bro, I'm fucking pretending that I'm in a Terminator post-apocalyptic and I'm John Connor, and you're walking around behind, messing with the lights, taking me out of care. I'm gonna start yelling just like him. Yeah, I entirely understand that argument and that. Yeah, 100%. Shout
He's
out
like,
to
you
Christian Bale.
fucking
Come on the channel.
amateur.
Yeah, no, I do. Yeah, no, Christian Bale seems really cool, and Tom just seems like a man that
He makes great
believes-
movies. And my dad did
believes
say,
in what
like,
he's doing.
he doesn't know if just given how famous he is, like, he just kind of keeps himself very private and gives nothing to most people that he meets just because, like, he keeps separation. He was like, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. He's like, but the 1 hour I had with him, very boring guy. He's like,
Well,
Christian
Tom
Bale,
has
on the other
that,
hand, really funny.
Scientology bubble around and on
Yeah.
him. So it's there's
That's a weird
Tom, and then there's Tom.
Right.
Tom is the one that shows up to the Scientology with big medals and talks about when a Scientologist sees a car crash, they know what to do. There's some great videos of him.
Yeah, I just want to point out, Mr. Tech Rat, lots of people are only good to hang out with at work. Once you clock out, you are a different person. Yeah,
Holy shit, people are watching.
people are watching. People we know.
Yeah. No, very famous. Yeah, no, that's also true. But you could tell. It's just like we were talking about authenticity. You could tell who were the real ones.
Yeah.
Keanu Reeves, the Chris Pratts, the Jeremy Renners, the ones that like, yeah, they're all right.
Yeah, yeah.
For sure.
I mentioned Michael Rappaport. He actually lives in my neighborhood, and
He's
I was
getting
going to
all
say
the
that. Do
buzz.
you ever see him? Yeah. Because I
Oh,
always see his Instagram. He's walking around New York just yelling at his camera about whatever happened to him that morning. And so I was wondering when I went to New York if I'd see him just walking around screaming at a camera. But
So
I
he
didn't.
definitely got that cameo before he said what he said recently.
yeah. So he I don't want to reveal like my location, but he does live in my neighborhood.
Bro, people could look out your window, see the buildings, and
Yeah.
figure out the skyline.
I was trying to do that. I could.
He went semi. I mean, he's been in the industry for a long time, but he went semi-viral on like Instagram because he's like constantly posting about this pharmacy nearby. The pharmacy ended up shutting down because I don't know if you, Jesse, are aware. New York it's constant theft. Like anytime I walk into a Duane Reade, any Duane Reade, every single time, like it doesn't. There's no like failure point. I see someone with like a big garbage bag full of stuff they stole. And Michael Rappaport was live streaming this guy stealing from a Rite Aid that ended up shutting down. And it's like, okay. And then so after that, I started following him and I'm like, oh, I see what his political opinions are. It's like, you voted for this. Because he's, I don't know if you guys follow him. He's total, what is it? TDS. Trump during.
Well, yes, except now he's becoming less and less, especially when he was on Patrick Bet David saying that voting for Trump is on the table.
Wait,
So-
did he really?
Oh, bro, I thought that's what you were bringing. That. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
He's
holy
just
shit.
come out. That's why I said he must have had that cameo and Fallout before he's coming. Yeah. Shit is so bad. And, with the cops that got beaten up by those immigrants and the immigrants immediately got let go. He saw all of that. So he is now saying that voting for Trump is on the table. It is. Look, when it comes right down to it, I know he's an asshole that does mean tweets. And I'm not just talking about Michael Rappaport. I'm talking about Trump. Yes, I get it. He's very abrasive. People don't like him. But really, most people, when it comes right down, once you get rid of all the fake shit that could be debunked, right? The real reason is people just don't like the shit he says on Twitter. And it's like, or so Truth Social now, whatever. It's like you gotta so fucking grow up and get beyond that.
Yeah.
We're talking about real deal danger. Look at New York. Look
Yeah.
at San Francisco. Look at LA. Look at every Democratic run fucking city. Unfortunately, I hate to do that because I used to hear that and fucking blame everything on the Democrats. But yes, unfortunately, that is in fact there's just some horrible policies, and they're all only coming from one side. And
Yeah.
I can't disagree with people that are saying it's on purpose.
I was going to say, like, because I'm in Australia, I'm not really connected to US politics heavily. So I tried, like, I never really talk about US politics because I'm not American. But what I can say
Could have
is
fooled me.
I have been to America a lot because I used to play basketball in high school. I'd play over there and stuff. And I'd travel, like, every 3 months I was in the States. And, like, I've been in America for Trump years. And I've been in America post-Trump years, and I'm just saying it was two different Americas that I went to. Like,
it's
and
undeniable.
things were different. Like LA did not feel the same at all. Like,
no, yeah.
I used to love LA. Like, I used to really love LA whenever I get to go there. I love New York. I still do love New York, to be honest. It's just a cool city, but there's a big difference, like
There's
huge difference.
Yeah. So like I actually noticed how bad of a difference it was. I went to London last April, where I actually met that Alex that I got on my podcast, and like it was April 2023, and I was like, "Yo, London is back!" Like every bar was hopping, like the atmosphere was just, pretty much the same as it was. Like I forget when the last time before that was that I visited, but London is back in a way that New York is not. Like you go, there's crowded bars right now, but like it's not the same vibe anymore.
No, super different.
Yeah. I mean,
And I also felt
practical.
like it's less safe as well.
Oh yeah.
Like I remember when I first went to New York, I think I must have been 14 years old. And I was like walking the streets by myself, walking from up near Central Park all the way down to Soho. And I just felt completely safe by myself at 14 years old. Now, like I would be walking the streets at nighttime, me and my girlfriend. And I was like, you keep an eye out at different stuff. Because like there's some more shady things going on. I feel less safe here. Yeah. More safe actually than Sydney in New York, to be honest with you, that people wouldn't expect. But I definitely didn't feel as safe as I used to there.
Turns out it was a bad idea to defund the police and then make it so people could steal up to like $1,000 or $900 worth of shit, and then just let our border completely open, giving like debit cards to them. It's like, all right, see ya, see you in your court date in 4 years or whatever the fuck it is. Yeah,
I mean, basically the same thing happened up in Canada. And
that same thing was happening in London and Ireland and France, like the same tactic. That's why, like, I hate put the tinfoil hat on, but the more it's pointed out, and the result is the same on all of them, where the country is completely overwhelmed in all of its social infrastructure, welfare, medical, education, transport, everything, the same thing, and then the voting population drastically changes. It's curious. Is all I'm saying. It's curious.
Yeah. I mean, I was actually up in on the Canadian border to see the eclipse the other day, and just
get superpowers.
Cool.
I went. I'm solar powered now. The solar power perk from Fallout.
I tried. It didn't work.
But yeah, like there was basically like no hotel to stay on the actual path of totality. So I ended up driving into Montreal and just like getting a hotel for $80 a night. Shout out Econo Lodge, perfect. But I drove through back into northern Vermont and talked to a few of the locals, and like there's like a complete disconnect with what you see in the mainstream media and talking to people on the ground. And you have to talk to people. You have to have discussions.
Yeah.
Convince them of your argument.
Yes.
Show them new ideas. Maybe they show you new ideas that you didn't know about and ways to think about. Like I was talking to some firefighter from northern Vermont, and he's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "What's the industry around here?" Well, I forget what he mentioned, but it was some manufacturing base, and they all shipped it off to Canada. And then you have this disillusioned group of people that basically are trying to vote their interests because one side completely screwed everybody over.
Yeah, there's a bunch of crew people. They're just like, oh no, I'm tired of paying this much for gas or eggs or they're just the cold hard reality of it. And also, like you said, we've seen the legacy media be found out to not be, or if at the very least, everything they say is framed through a very specific narrative. And so more people are informed. And like the problem with politics in this country is it's very different. I am what would be called a traditional leftist progressive. I have no problem with gay marriage. I have no problem with trans people in and of themselves. Now, when you start getting with anyone under 18, that's when I start having issues. But I'm pro-gun, which is not something a leftist. But other than that, when they call us, oh, you're so controversial, it's like, well, what do I think of that's controversial? I'm even pro-choice up to a certain amount of months, which would be so it's like, so where's the radical shit?
Right.
It's not there. It's made up.
Yeah. And also you're allowed an opinion at all. Like you're allowed an opinion on anything you want, right? That's meant to be what the US is founded on.
Yeah.
all democracies are founded on. Exactly. And like, so one, you're allowed an opinion, but two, like, it's just getting so radicalized where like even myself, where I purposely make it a thing where I try to avoid talking just like hard politics because I'm 22 years old. Like I don't deserve to talk about politics, right? It doesn't affect me
If
the
you're
same
over
way
18,
as
you're
someone
allowed
that's
to talk
40 has
about it.
experienced a lot more.
No, that's dumb shit.
You are, but I try not to, and I just talk about movies, and I'm like, you know,
that's fine.
and it's impossible to talk about movies now without bringing up some political things.
Oh, that's what
And
I was gonna say. It's like it's sort of hard to talk about one without the other.
Right-wing lunatic or an extremist or like.
Well, you're gonna get accused of that no matter what.
Yeah.
So you could just saying something based will be like, oh, you fucking alt-right, and that's, as Elon Musk has famously said, they're so like the people pushing the hardcore agendas and checkboxes, they're so far to the left that everyone is to the right of them, like literally everyone. So the couple of things that do really divide us are the same couple of things that always divided us.
Due to echo chambers.
Oh, sorry, say that again. You're freezing a little bit.
And I think echo chambers as well. Like I did, I forget what. Oh, sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you. Yep.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yep.
We got you.
Okay, cool. I think it was my review of The Marvels, and to me, that movie sucked for so many reasons that had nothing to do with politics, right? So I went over the terrible writing, I went over the terrible character development, the terrible chemistry. I went over everything I hated with that film, but I didn't talk about politics because it didn't need to be talked about. The movie just sucked. And then I got flooded with comments being like, oh man, you've gone woke. You didn't talk about politics. I'm like, well, I'm also talking about movies here too. So it's like, I think if you get attacked by extreme people on any side, then at least you can be happy that one, you're thinking for yourself, and two, you're pretty much straight down the line.
But it's the internet. You're not going to please everybody. You know, personally, I have tried to start pushing away like the word woke from my vocabulary and just started replacing it with, okay, lazy writing, race and gender swapping. What's actually wrong with the movie, rather than focusing on the politics. But I mean, at the end of the day, like, what does my political stance have to do with my opinion on whether a movie is good or not?
Yeah, it'll get conflated no matter what. You no matter how much nuance, if you try to point out at the end of the day, someone will say, you just don't like Rey because she got the Millennium Falcon, or you just hate women. It's like, fuck.
right. You just can't win with these people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you said, they're extremists.
I know. It's like, I like Kill Bill.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and a lot of the times people, they're not even watching that's the other thing. They're not even watching the videos.
Yeah.
They're having an emotional thing. You know, I saw one guy who's like, oh man, you really hate women. I was like, I do?
Right.
I do?
Just
tell my mom and my like 9% female audience that I hate them because maybe they're not picking up on that fact. And it's just, he hasn't watched anything, or he saw some very real criticisms of the type of women that they write, where they turn every woman into just a toxic male, the Captain Marvels. Yeah, I don't like that type of women, but they conflate that to just like, oh, you don't like women. It's like, no, I don't like the writing of the way they do it.
Yeah.
Clearly, I liked Lucy in Fallout.
I know. They'll casually ignore everything that...
Oh, shoot. He cut out.
Exactly.
It's not just me.
They'll just ignore everything that debunks their theory.
Right.
Am I back?
Yeah, you were just you were roboting for a second there. But yeah, they will ignore. Obviously, we.
Yeah,
always
I don't know
bring up
what's
all the
going
good
on
ones.
with my internet. It keeps going in and out.
No, say just let me know if you need to. You pop out or pop back in, or
Yeah,
if it's working. Either way,
I can always add you back in if you're having audio issues.
I think it's just an internet delay.
Yeah. But
Is that me or?
I blame Australia always.
Always. It might be. Just log in and out.
Blame Australia. We have the worst Wi-Fi in the world, and we invented it.
There you go. I'll give it.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you want to just like refresh, pop back out, pop back in, he'll add you back.
Yeah.
See if it fixes it, because it's definitely on a delay.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll try that.
Yeah. So I have it up on my big monitor. So we're a few seconds behind what people are going to be watching in, I don't know, 4 or 5 seconds. I guess it gives them time to bleep stuff out or.
Yeah, just in case. But you already talked about COVID and Trump. That's all the things that would piss someone off anyway.
Right. Yeah, I mean, we're gonna get canceled, but I am streaming to Twitter, so
Oh yeah, there you go. Shout out. Well, and thankfully, a lot of those topics now
Yeah,
aren't so banned as they once were.
yeah. I mean, the whole censorship thing, it gets under my skin. So like when what's that guy that just Senator Joe Lieberman? I hated that guy because he was all about censoring video games back in the '90s. I'm like, yeah, fuck that guy.
Yeah. All good.
All good. I don't know.
I think it's working well.
Yeah. All right, good.
Yeah, sounds great. Yeah, but I don't know what were Disney, Fallout, anything new going on?
Well, I was to say, aside from that Fallout, which you guys you need to watch. Thankfully, there's nothing. I think the next big thing coming out is going to be Acolyte, which last I heard had like 700,000 plus on the dislikes on the trailer.
Yeah, I mean, I can't wait because that's just going to get us more views talking about it.
I can't wait. That and Charmin Obey Chinoy, so I can grift on her accent. That's the grifting I'm for.
Right. Yeah.
Nothing wrong with shamelessly taking advantage of an algorithm if you already care about the subject.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we're all nerds. We all care about pop culture. We're just here to have a conversation about it. Learn something new, maybe.
Yeah, all I want is them to try. Like I said, with Fallout, they tried. So
Yeah.
you're not going to hear me shitting on it beyond the obvious little critiques of some character moments.
Yeah. A for effort. I mean, yeah, I'm right with you. I'm like 7 out of 10 on the show.
There we go. See that Australian Wi-Fi. Oh,
Okay,
sure.
my hotspot. Hopefully this works better.
There we go. Yeah, no, you're better now. You are not frozen.
Yeah, you were freezing pretty bad.
Yeah, I don't know what was going on. Australia notoriously has terrible Wi-Fi, and we offer it nowhere as well, which is just crazy. We invent it, and then we can't really use it.
Yeah, that's how that goes.
Yeah. I found that I have to have when I'm live streaming, it's got to be a wired Ethernet. Like I can't do it over Wi-Fi, even though I have gigabit internet. Shout out to Verizon FiOS for
Not what I've been doing.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta have everything wired because one of the live streams I ran months ago last year, I was on Wi-Fi and I was cutting out left and right.
Was that the one I was on? I think I was on one of those where it was terrible. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you've been on basically most of my life.
Oh, have I?
Oh yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this is only
cool.
like the 5th one, and I mean, I think we have a pretty good community going on.
Yeah, I think you reached out to me when I must have only had maybe 2,000 or 3,000 subscribers at the time.
Yeah.
It was basically a year ago in April, I think.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
reached
I
out,
was following you. The algorithm recommended me your channel when you were at like 800 and 800.
No way.
Yeah. So I was like, oh yeah, this kid is blowing up.
It was a grind to even get 1,000. I think it was like it was close to 400 videos before I hit 1,000 subs.
Wow. Yeah, I mean it's hard to break through.
Yeah.
So how long before you got 1,000 subs?
I think so. I started this channel September 2021. I think I hit 1,000 subscribers October 2022.
Wow, over a year.
Yeah, it took a while. But it was kind of on and off because obviously I wasn't making money from it. Nothing was really happening.
Do you do 3 videos a day?
I was doing multiple videos in a day. I was doing like the kind of like news model where I'd do like a long form video talking about like 7 different topics, and then I'd put the 7 clips up straight after. And so that's what got me to like nearly 400 videos before I had like 900.
Yeah, no, because I was
subscribers.
gonna like, I'm trying to gauge now because I think Gary from Nerdrotic, when I told him I hit 1,000 subscribers in like 3 months. So I'm 4-month anniversary was on the 8th. I'm like 40 something away from 3,000.
Wow.
So I'm trying to understand because some people seem to fucking like could take a second, and then they hit a number, and it skyrocketed. Like I don't know if you know who Hypnotic is, but I go on his sometimes. He had like 5,000, and then all of a sudden, boom, 30, and then like he's almost at 40, and then like it really seems to. So I'm just wondering of when for you it went from like, oh, it's been like you understand people have gone 3 years and never made it over even 5.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's like boom, you hit 60. I'm just wondering what it was
I
besides the
think-
obvious.
So I did. I must have been maybe 4,000 subscribers, and that was just like more of a grind. So I grew a couple thousand, posting so many, like a video a day, basically from October to maybe May to May. And I grew 3,000 subscribers there, and I posted a Cleopatra review.
Oh yeah,
that
I
blew
missed
up.
that one. What a fucking colossal.
Cleopatra did 1.5 million views on a 4,000 subscriber channel, and I was like, holy shit, like my life is set now. I'm going to do this full time. And then after that, the views were like much higher, but they were dropping a fair bit.
Yeah, I think that's what we talked about. Like it kicks you into a higher like tier, and then like sees if you can hang, and it keeps doing that, and then everyone.
So I was like, man, I'm gonna bring in over 100,000 views every video from this point on, and I didn't. I like it dropped to whatever, but I just kind of stuck at it. I think that took me to 10,000 subscribers, maybe like a month later, just because that Cleopatra video did so well, and then from there, it was just a consistent grind, and I think I ticked, just basically every month, I probably go up maybe 7,000 subscribers.
Oh, that's a crazy. You know how like everything doubles or whatever. Mine is. I hit that one that was like 13,000 on a video. Like for me, that was like, oh shit, that was like my first 10,000 plus.
Yeah, that was I did that, I think, with Peter Pan and Wendy. That did like
so random
17,000 views, and I was like, I'm viral. This is insane.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And it's like one video. Like I remember my highest video is like over 30,000 views for one of the Andor episodes that I reviewed. And I'm like, all right, this is it. I'm breaking through.
Yeah.
Next video, 12 views. I'm like, I don't even know.
Because I did 500,000 views before this Cleopatra one on like 1,200 subscribers, and that 500,000 views was like the only money I earned for the month of December of 2022, and so that was like tying me over. And I think you saw that it was like why Dune Part 2 will change cinema, and that did really well. But after that, like I thought my next video would do well. I don't think it even hit 100 views overnight, coming 2 days later after a 500,000 view video.
That could be rough. Rough.
It was very rough.
It's just confusion of like, what do you want, great algorithm? What have I done to upset thee? No, but that's because it is like, because I know you sort of alluded to it. It is talent, and it is all of that. But yeah, it is also like, I don't even want to say luck. It's just like the unspoken thing that all of a sudden blesses a video, and you're like, oh shit.
I can't like. As much as like for myself, I'm like, oh, I don't want to attribute it to luck because I did put so much hard work into this.
Don't rob yourself of
at the end of the day,
agency.
like sometimes I do have to just go, you know, I got so lucky on that Cleopatra video.
Oh, I just think of it like
so
just
lucky.
be open to the universe. Don't put a name on it. Just be open to the possibilities. Put your best into it. And it seems like you're in the position like all you need to do is just not fuck up. Just keep going. Just keep doing what you're doing.
That's basically
the best
where
position
I'm
to
at.
be in, right? Where you don't have to do anything except be you and like not be fake, and then you probably won't.
Exactly. However, I still get worried because now I have like a agent and they get sponsors for me. And so like when you get a sponsor on a video, like they bring in, it's like a new kind of boss and like a new pressure because they're like, we need it to get this many views.
Don't take advice from me, because my advice is taking it from Gary, but like just don't let anyone compromise your voice. That's all I would say.
That's
like I think
100%.
My co-host, he's like, what about sponsorships? Do you want anything? Like, I don't want sponsorship from anyone unless it's like Meta PC or Secret Labs or something like that. But it's like I don't want to have to capitulate.
That just because of, for some reason, movies are politicized now, that people wouldn't want to sponsor me. Yeah. That's not the case at all. Like, there's so many companies, they're just like, they don't care. They're like, you're getting views, you have a good audience. As long as you're not out there, committing crimes on the internet, you're going to be able to be sponsored.
No, it seems like that's a great position to be in, man. I'm glad. It's great that we have these opportunities. I hope.
It's
I wish YouTube would go, I wish they would realize the Rumble thing of like, just let people talk.
Yeah.
I mean,
unless we're calling for violence against or for something, like unless you're actually breaking a rule, like an international rule or something, just let people talk or slandering or some shit like that. Yeah.
Yeah, be all about free speech, and that's why I started streaming to Twitter, because Elon basically lets everything fly, unless, like you mentioned, there's some sort of thread or
No, it's smart. You
Yeah.
can't be in one spot. I upload on, even though I sort of ignore it, I upload on Rumble just so it's there, just in case something
Yeah.
happened. I could be like, well, I guess I'm on Rumble now. And
That's
Yeah.
smart because I got demonetized by accident like a month ago. And
that is my
obviously,
biggest fear. Is I keep
I'm f-
hearing that happening to creators,
Yeah.
and like unless you get people to help you, it could take 2 or 3 days
Yeah, I was because
or
like this is
never.
my full-time job now, right?
Yeah.
And me and my like girlfriend are making plans to move soon, and I'm saving up money and stuff. And I was like, this is my job. And then I get randomly demonetized for apparently not my videos apparently weren't mine. I was taking videos from other channels and posting them as mine. And I'm like, I make all my videos. How does this happen? It was just a robot glitch thing, but it
Yeah.
happened right when I had a video do really well. And it actually cost me, I think, like $1,600.
Yeah, because you don't make the. See, that's fucking insane.
Yeah, it cost me over close to $2,000 because it was a few days of like a video that did way better than usual for me that I was demonetized for. I had to make an appeal to YouTube, a video showing how I record my videos, how I edit them, how I script them, how I come up with ideas, and they had to look at that and be like, "Oh yeah, he does make his own videos. Let's reinstate his monetization." But that took a few days, and like there was like the most stressful situation of my life. I'm like, what am I going to do? I'm going to go work at Starbucks now, I guess. Like,
I'm not smiling because of the tribulations. I'm smiling because I'm thinking about that beautiful algorithm I might hit one day that would let me get 50,000 plus on a video. To breach that ceiling one day.
It will happen. 100%.
Oh no, and
like,
that's the thing. It's just waiting. That's what Gamergate
Yes.
made me realize. Like, oh, you just got to wait for the thing that you much like Dune 2. You got to wait for that big sandworm and lash on your hooks.
Yes.
And that will pull through the next levels. Like Gamergate was one.
Being shameless too. Like, I was like, oh, I don't need to make 2 videos on Cleopatra. I got across my point in 1. I'm just going to do 2. The second one did nearly 1 million as well, and that
is the grifting I approve of. Is you can knowingly and take advantage, because it is a business of the algorithm. If it's something you can still talk about,
exactly.
care about,
Like, if there's literally nothing to say, then I'm not going to make a video. But I'll just constantly search up that show. If there's any new news, I'll just report on that because that's my job. But at least it's giving me another video tied to a topic that's trending.
Oh, I had something similar about that where I sort of talked about the same issue twice, but it was like one of it was like what they're doing to Tomb Raider, basically, and the apologies. And it's like that led to Grum's calling for a boycott or a 3-year moratorium on buying AAA games. And then another one, same story, but Melanie Matt calling just for like, oh, we need to shut Square Enix down entirely if they're going to destroy so sort of the same overlap of the same topic, but with a different little thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Relevant.
Yeah.
And that's perfectly fine. Like, that's like and also what I hate too is when people comment like, oh, you should also talk about movies you love. It's like, yeah, I do sometimes, but you can't, but people don't care.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I can go and talk about like some small indie film that I absolutely loved. That's only going to get 20 views. Like, what's the point of that? There's a reason why news companies as well don't report on the man that rescued a lady's dog that day.
If
they
it
report
bleeds,
on
it
tragedy.
leads.
Right.
Exactly.
And I hate that because I'm not trying to grift. I'm not trying to do that type of grifting where pushing negativity. Be like, I'm happy to talk about positive things.
Exactly.
But people want to know about the Disney thing and they want to know about fucking Silver Surfer. And it's like, okay.
I gave Dune a good review. Like, I'll give good reviews when the movie's good. I gave Reacher a great review.
Right.
But
Me too, by the way.
And I'm not going to say I hate something when I don't hate it.
Right.
I'm just going to talk about the stuff that sucks at the moment. And I'm also going to bring in the good reviews sometimes when I think a movie really deserves it.
Well, and also, I don't know about you, but like, well, I would assume you because you have a bigger community, but like the Badger Legion or whatever. And then by admission, anyone connected from the Fellowship or the One Night, you're like, the chat is God to me. Community is king. So it's like, if they're asking for something, well, then that's what we're doing. Yeah, that's what we're doing. That's where we're going in this car. Yeah, exactly. Like,
any day I'm making a video, I'm like, what video do you guys prefer? The one on The Acolyte, or do you want one on X-Men 97? Let me know. And whichever one gets more votes, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Or someone says, hey, what's going on with the Disney thing? Or, hey, what's going on with this? And then I see them, oh, I'm glad you talked about this. Like, well, great. Then that's my job. That's my pact. It's not with the great. Yes, I hope everyone comes in, but it's for the direct. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
But so that's why, yeah, you got to. That's my last thing on sponsors. Just make sure they don't curtail you. But like you said, apparently they're quite happy to let you do your thing.
They don't. I've never had a sponsor tell me what I can and can't talk about in my video, how I should make my video. All they care about is, do I talk about the points that they want to get across in their sponsor. So like if I'm doing a sponsor for Surfshark, they're like, hey, just let them know we have a 30% discount on right now. Let them know we can help with getting better shows on Netflix by changing your location. And I'm like, okay, I'll just record 60 seconds of that, and that's all they want. They don't care. Like, I've never had anyone tell me, like, it's been pretty good.
No, honestly, my only experience is watching Gary from Nerdrotic, and like twice this has happened to the point where he's like, fuck you, I'm not doing this anymore. Is like he's recorded a commercial, and then that company has told him to change it. And he was like, no,
yeah,
that's my time. And I was so, but also, I don't know how much you comment on like beyond necessity, like the culture war. So he might be, but he's obviously a much larger target of companies to be like, no.
Yeah, exactly.
Or Jeremy from the Geeks and Gamers, who's obviously very polarizing because he's an open Trump supporter, which is death to most.
Even though most of the country voted for him. Right?
That would be the unspoken, is you would find out that the large majority of the country actually is not how you would think. That what we were talking about, most people just don't like the gas prices and they're voting for strictly economical or anti certain agendas. Not But that also goes that there's less divide than you would think. And probably most countries, most people just are tired of being fucked with.
That's the thing. That, like, I don't think it's like people love Trump and love Biden. It's just, what are they going to do for me?
Well, nobody.
I don't know how you can call it a personality, on both sides. But on both sides, that might be a little delusional. For different reasons. Yeah, it gets squirrely. It gets squirrely.
The one thing under Trump is I can understand that businesses will make money. And so like I remember when it was like 2016, and I saw like all these like viral videos of like Mexican people in America that were like, oh yeah, he says he hates us, but we're voting for him because we need our businesses to make money.
Right. Well, and then as pointed out, he doesn't. He said he never says he hated them. He hates the illegals and the criminals.
Will just
and the
say,
coyote.
oh, did you? He hates you. He hates you guys. He hates you.
No, that was just my whole journey of I went from ambivalent, like, that's funny, he's running for president, to okay, well, the world hasn't fallen apart, to man, they really hate him. And then you'd see some things and that's how they do it, like they repeat a lie obvious enough that you start to believe it. And then it was around COVID when you're like, wow, these fuckers are just lying. And I really started researching the news and narratives, and then all the things that I thought, I was like, I have to reframe everything and go back, and you're like, oh, he didn't say or do half of those things. Or it's like the perfect example is I think it was Jimmy Dore who gave this example. But if someone was talking about Trump and realized that this is true this is how the news reports. If the story is there was a lady standing near a bus stop and she was about to be hit by a bus, and so Donald Trump ran over and pushed her out of the way and saved her from being hit by the bus, the news would start the story at Donald Trump pushes old lady. Do you know what I'm saying? Like it would completely ignore any context. Well, now you see it all the time, like with the bloodbath when he was talking about the auto industry. But realize
the auto industry. It wasn't Civil War.
But this is what I realize is like, oh, they've done that with every single historical event, person. I've been told a narrative. I've been told a specific version on it. And now at almost fucking 40, I have to go back and reorganize every truth I thought to know about the world. Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
Isn't that nice? At least you're young. At least you could do it early.
I know. And I was just
like I said, decades of propaganda.
Just lucky to have two like journalist parents that would always tell me like, you got to question everything the media says, because they weren't like TV anchors. Like my dad was a foreign correspondent. He was in Iraq. He was in war zones. Like he's like, I know the real story. And I don't know if you guys have ever do you guys know a guy named Wolf Blitzer on CNN?
Oh yeah.
So Wolf, he's just like the TV anchor dude. And my dad worked for CNN for a while as a foreign correspondent. And he flew over to Iraq thinking he wanted to like be the big guy and like go into the war zone, whatever. And this is the difference between the foreign correspondents who actually seek truth and the blue collar worker versus the TV anchor. He came in, they start driving, bombs start going off, and he goes, "Get me out, we're turning around." And my dad's like, no, we're going towards the bombs. That's our job. He's like, nope, I'm flying home. And he got out the car, got back to the US military base and flew home. It's like, that's the difference. And like the people who seek the truth and the people that just want to stay home in their comfortable bed and tell you a lie and not actually see what's happening.
They want to tell you what they think is their right side of history. Yeah,
exactly.
Right. And their truth.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it's
and that's how Bob Iger gets away with that when he says, "Oh, we're not political. We don't insert messaging because the things that we call messaging and political." He goes, "Oh, I don't see that as politics. I just see that as human rights.
Yeah,
us paying for bottom surgery for and not detransitioning, but the transitioning of our employees' children. That's just the right side of history. That's not political."
Yeah.
So that's the level of.
But I found it pretty crazy
that cognitive dissonance. That's just corporate fucking disingenuous. That's lies.
Yeah.
Did you see The Rock was on when he was on Joe Rogan and he was finally pressed about like a real question, right? We got like a real opinion from The Rock, and Joe Rogan was like, "Oh, what about like people in Hollywood?" He's like, "I've got friends in Hollywood that vote Trump and friends that vote Biden." And then Joe Rogan was like, "Do they vote Biden?" And he goes, "Well, they're loyal to the party."
They're loyal to the party. Yeah. Well, he just came out saying that he regrets endorsing Biden, and all it did was create division. And that this time around, he won't be endorsing anyone, which is tacitly an endorsement of not Biden. Yeah.
I think it's also, I understand like people get angry at like Dwayne Johnson for like not expressing, personal opinions all the time. It's like, well, the guy's like the biggest star in the world. Like it's like one endorsement from him can swing like a lot. And so it's, I get it. I get why it's a tough position to be in because
it's more or less
I think
what he said.
Exactly. And I think as well, like he's got fans from both sides. I think I've got community from both sides. Like I want to be respectful to the people that support my videos. I don't want to call people an idiot. So I try to keep it about the movie. If you're an extremist, you're an idiot. I don't really want you to support
me. I end up talking about it and I talk about it clear and clear. Like you could probably tell what my politics are by watching me.
Yeah.
But also, I've had like when I mentioned Canada or something, like I've had Canadians be like, "Don't blame me for." It's like I'm not. When I say like crazy liberal, I don't mean all of you because I would be talking about myself, talking about the ones in charge that are pushing all the crazy shit. It is a thing of extremes. They're the ones ruining it for everyone. But it's very hard to nuance. That's why people use woke still, because it's very hard for me to say critical race theory, intersectional feminist, neo-Marxism, feudalism, agenda. Like it's like 20 things it could be.
Yeah, it's a nice like umbrella term.
It is. I agree with you though in the term that people still get confused. They think you mean like socially woke from the 70s and 80s, stay woke rather, like the social oppression or whatever. Like, well, no, it doesn't. Hasn't been that in a long time.
Exactly.
But it also, I think Michael Malice is the one that said that the human mind is an emotional mousetrap, and everything you say, that trap is just waiting to shut down on you when you say a trigger word. Trump, all the things we talked about that probably pissed everyone off. Trump's a big one. But like, so you're constantly trying to talk to someone to get around the emotion just so you can hear, just listen to what, that's most of our videos, by the way. People call it alt-rights, like, did you really listen to what I said?
Yeah, exactly. And I think as well, we're in tough positions, right? Like as content creators, you're kind of constantly in evolution. You're constantly like wrestling with thoughts and you've got to get out videos often. And so like, I always find like, we're questioning things all the time, right? And like, that's our job. You've got to question stuff. You got to push whatever, like against a bad movie or whatever. And so like your opinions will change over time.
Yeah, we're not echo chambers.
Exactly. Like your opinions will change. And like, it's tough for us because what we say on a Tuesday, maybe 3 months down the line, we'll slightly change that opinion. But like, we're held as like, oh, that's like, they're like that forever. And
I did it earlier where I rated Fallout a 6.5. I was like, but I'll probably make it a 7.0 because it's like, I'm still thinking, I'm still digesting it. I don't, do you terribly like, do you script your videos or do you just like, you know what you want to say more or less and you just go?
So I used to script and it just takes too long.
Right.
And so what I do is I have like just a notebook and I write out maybe like 15 bullet points of like a rough outline of what I want to talk about. And then that allows me to just go word for word and sometimes just keep going if I'm on a roll. Because I also want my videos to be longer than 8 to 10 minutes. I don't want them to be too short and I want to get as much information as possible, but I don't, scripting it is just, it's a long process and I just don't have the time for that.
Well,
when I try to get out 4 videos a week, the Critical Drinker, he can take the time. He posts one video. That
he's
funds
a professional writer.
Yeah.
Exactly. But also, like, one video does millions of views. He'll pay off that month's mortgage off the one video. I don't have that luxury. I got to get 4 out a week so to afford coffee. So I'm not.
Yeah. I mean, I script my videos just because I want to have like word for word exactly what I want to say, so I don't repeat myself. Because anybody who knows me knows I repeat myself.
I used to be like horrible at that. Like I'd repeat myself all the time.
Yeah.
And I've really had to work on that. That's a good point.
I'll have bullet points in my head, but normally it's just a stream of conscious.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or on the
Are yours? Because I need to check out your channel. Are they like video? Are they like the Critical Drinker type videos?
No, not
or
at
are
all.
they...
I am not that. I was more. I patterned mine more after the Ryan Kinnell.
Okay,
3
cool.
videos a day, which like
Yeah.
talking about articles or whatever.
Oh man,
and whatever I think
that's
of.
a good model to follow.
And often, whether it comes or not, I hope it does. Is I don't pre-read any of the articles. The idea is you're reading it with me and getting my snap. So, but that leads to saying like it's sort of like being on the radio in the old like you get off and like, what'd you say? I was like, I don't remember. I remember what I said. I was a stream of fucking like a fugue state consciousness. I don't remember what I said.
I do that too. I'm editing. I'm like, oh yeah, I did say that.
Oh, and that's the other thing is a lot of people have like problems watching themselves back.
Oh yeah.
I so like disassociate and like I don't even remember what I said. And so sometimes I'll be saying I'll laugh and I'm like, I forgot I said that. That's inappropriate, but that's all right. But yeah.
I mean, I script just so that, like, on the back end, I don't have to like keep editing mistakes and ums and uhs because I do that a lot. I'm working on my speech patterns, but yeah, it's just it's way faster on the editing side.
That's a great thing is everyone can. It depends. It can work for everyone no matter what. If you could just go. If you can just go with a little bit of like guide rails. Sometimes I'll do that just to make sure because sometimes I'm just going so much that I forgot. Like fuck. I wanted to say that one little thing.
Yeah.
But,
no, I've got to check out your channel, man. That's so cool. That you do like the Ryan Kinnell thing of like 3-4 videos of like the major topics each
3
day.
videos a day on I won't do any video that I don't care about a little bit, obviously.
Yeah.
Which could be a struggle because sometimes it's like, oh, there's nothing happening.
Yeah.
And then
that is the worst.
It's
like
the worst.
there's some weeks where I'm like, what am I going to talk about? And I need to find 3-4 videos. Like, what the hell?
Well, and then I will do. I have a Badger reacts. Well, I'll react to like a drinker video or a Gary, and I really, really try because I know this is a whole. First, yes, even in the best interpretation, it's fucking riding their coattails. They're more than happy to. That being said, it is not a basic bitch reaction where you're just sitting there and watching. It's like I always try and break down and pause and extrapolate because I watch all their streams. So a lot of times they'll make a joke or they'll say something that is like tied to a way bigger thing. And thankfully, I've gotten some comments that like, hey man, either I've never heard of them before, but now I'm subbed, and or I do know who they are, but I appreciated watching because I'll watch Tyrone Magnus react to
he
Drinker
does that too,
or whatever. And they're monetized, and he got on open bar doing that. So that first was like, okay, Drinkers. And then Drinker told me, no, your reaction is what had me. I was like, okay. So Gary and Drinker don't mind when people with respect, obviously don't steal their shit.
Yeah. I did one, talking about the Critical Drinker, and I gave a shout out to Robert Meyer Burnett in that video as well. And then he left a comment down below. He's like, "Love the shout out, great video." I was like, "Oh, that's sick." I've been watching Robert Meyer Burnett for like forever.
Or I've been covering the film threat, the Disney Files. Have you seen those? The D Files from Alan Ng, all the leaks, and Alan like reposted me one time and mentioned me in the live. So like, oh, good, they do like it. They're not, it's so it is. I like the interconnected community. We're all just helping.
Yeah, because you worry that they're going to be like, screw this guy.
Yes, or like sort of like your feeling about politics, where you think you hadn't earned it. It's more, it's like, who the fuck is this little channel talking about another creator? And it's like, oh, you're just clout chasing. It's like, well, a little. But I also do care about these channels. I like this community. I'm also targeting. If you're in the fellowship on the 199, if you watch Drinker and all those, I want you to watch me too. That's the whole point.
Yeah, exactly. We're forming a little community, which I know Gary doesn't want to have that word. Fellowship. But
community is communist. That's what he would say. Community is communist word.
Yeah.
No, the whole idea is that, like, and it is true. There has to be an army of us.
Yeah.
And in every way, in every flavor, with the same message of we just want good stories again without agenda, and we just want people that don't hate us to be doing it. That would be great.
Exactly.
My video that went up, you probably watched it, about critics again. Like, it's just been such a big problem where they're attacking critics. And I just say critics have been around since the beginning. Movie critics have been around since movies started.
Yeah.
And they're just as important for two reasons. One, we protect the audience's pockets, because if we say a movie sucks, it's not worth watching, we save people who spend their hard-earned money, $20, $30 at the cinema, watching something that doesn't deserve it. Or two, we also hold movies accountable to actually putting their best foot forward, putting in real effort, not being lazy, not remaking a movie and just doing a gender or race swap and saying, hey, this is good because we did a gender. No. Make a good story, tell an original story, put effort behind it. And like that, we do two great, like, it's so important. And then now they're just attacking critics. And I've made 5 or 6 videos just on like this anti-YouTube online critic movement, because we found out that you can pay Rotten Tomatoes. Apparently, PR firms pay Rotten Tomatoes to skew the reviews. So YouTube critics are probably the most honest, and they're trying to.
Yeah, I know people go to Gary or Drinker before they go to any mainstream.
100%. And I can understand why they're mad. I did the math in the video. I did, I think it was the Marvels review, and I took how many people watched that review and times that by 10 for a movie ticket. And it was like, he cost them, if obviously some people went and watched it, but if all the people that watched that review decided not to go to the Marvels, it would have lost the Marvels $18.5 million at $10 a ticket.
Already, barely.
And so I can understand why they're angry, but if you want to fix the problem, it's not his fault. You need to make a better film.
Yep. And that's what we're all about here. But this has been another awesome Thirsty Thursday. And I just want to shout out to both of your channels. Start with you, Jesse. What have you got planned for us for next few weeks?
So next few weeks, I want to review. Now I'm the Fall Guy. I want to review the Fall Guy.
Oh wait, is that out yet?
Pardon?
Is that out yet?
It comes out soon, right?
That's next week or the week after. So I'm looking forward to reviewing that. I've heard some good things, but we'll have to see. Obviously, The Acolyte will be coming up, and then whatever trending topics are going on, I'll try and cover those. And I also want to build this Substack community because I think it'll be really, really cool. However, I do want to, in case anyone sees this, I do want to say, look, if you can't afford I think it's $7 a month I set it at. If you can't afford it, please don't pay it just to, I always try and say, if I'm ever doing like a Substack or anything where it's like a monthly subscription or a Patreon, I'm not trying to get money from you. If you can't afford that, there's a free subscription where you will get a weekly newsletter. Just do that one. Please don't lose more money than you really can afford, because I can understand maybe there's pressure, you want to join it. Please don't part with money you can't afford.
Yeah, and that goes back to your authenticity thing. Honestly, you that shows honesty. You're a good guy. That's a really, really good way to go about things.
Go into debt for my channel, please. Give me money you can't afford. Thank you. No, just kidding. Don't.
Because I just see so many content creators. They put out, different things, and it's not worth the money, and they just try and get money from their audience, and that's not I get AdSense, I get sponsors, it's enough to make a living. I'm going to, move out of the house. I'm okay financially now, so please, I don't need this extra money. It's just to, because I'm going to be making 2 extra videos a week and writing 3 newsletters. It would be nice to have, a financial thing for that, but not any more than you can afford.
Yeah, definitely. Everybody who's watching this and watching this later, go check out Jesse's channel. He's an awesome YouTuber. And Badger, what have you got going on?
Nothing. No, I got my normal thing. 3 videos a day. Friday will be my normal. Well, the Nerd Rage before Friday Night Tights streams are back. So the hour before Friday Night Tights, I'll be on Nerd Rage with Erwin on Nerd Wars channel. Jesus. And then I do my Inside the Badger Den podcast every Friday at 9 p.m. PST. And then every Saturday, I'm with the normal Nerd Rage on Nerd Wars channel, 10 a.m. PST.
Do you sleep?
No. Yeah, it's actually not that much work. The 3 videos, depending, it's a really you would understand this. It's just being a slave to the news cycle. So
Yeah.
if there's a day where it's like, oh shit, there's 3 obvious videos to make, I'm done for the rest of the day. And then there's ones that's like, oh god,
I've had
nothing. What am I
I've
gonna
woken up
do?
at 6 a.m. I've gone on a run. I've come home like I'm gonna record my video at 8, and I'm scrolling news. I don't start writing my video till 2 p.m. because I couldn't find anything that would work for a video.
Yeah, it's a real tough life. We got it real hard.
Yeah, I know.
still the best
It's so
job ever.
difficult. I know. That's the thing. I always try and let people know, like, this is, like, it's so easy compared to some other jobs.
Compared to some of the other soul-crushing things you could be doing.
I was
yes.
working customer service at a gym, doing, like, quite long shifts where we had, like, a coffee. So I was working as, like, you know, doing that stuff, cleaning up vomit on a basketball court. Like, that's real work. This, I'm sitting at home talking about what I love. It is the fucking easiest shit in the world. And now I get to also write off business trips to Disneyland, Tokyo, which is fucking amazing.
All the tax breaks is all job.
Yeah, it's so cool.
That's awesome. All right, man. And both of you and everybody watching out there, thanks for watching. And we'll be back with another Thirsty Thursdays in a couple of weeks. I want to say on, what is that, the 28th? Whatever it is in a couple of Thursdays, we'll come back. And it's been great.
Cool. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, of
That was
course.
very cool. Nice to meet you too.
Nice to meet you, man.